Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of 3 Point Weekly. Today, we are going to be giving our award predictions for the 2022-23 season. Expect some interesting picks. Expect some narratives to be pushed. We got some Anthony Edwards fans in the house, so maybe he will show up in some awards here today. But we're going to start with Gabe, the outcast of the Anthony fandom on the channel. We'll start with the least intriguing of the awards, the head coach of the year, and then we'll get into some more interesting debates over the rest of the awards.
All right, so how do y'all want to do this? Because I wrote down 3 names for every award. I feel like we said top 3 before, but do we want to do 3, 2, 1 or 1, 2, 3?
Probably start with 3.
Yeah.
2, 1. Okay. So in third, I had Coach Michael Malone just because I think Denver's getting a lot of pieces back. And, I don't think I personally had them as like a 1 seed type team. But when I was looking at like other coaches around, like who did I have above them? It's like you got Golden State up there, but I don't think Steve Kerr is going to get it. And then like on the other side, sort of teams at the top, like I don't know how much I was really expecting any of their coaches because they're a little bit more tenured to get that award. So I was looking at some teams and I'm like, man, the Nuggets could be one of those teams that just like make a push and get a crazy good record. Having Jokic, having Jamal Murray back, having Michael Porter, other pieces they have on there. And so he got that spot for me, gave him a little nod. And then at 2, I had JB Bickerstaff. I thought I think you guys are probably even higher on Cleveland than I was coming into this season. But I think they could also be one of those teams where they don't even have to be like a top 2, top 3 seed. I think if they just come in and they look really good all year, maybe at a 3 seed he could get it. I don't know about 4 seed, but like I think just because how much improved they'll be, especially given last year, they look good, but then they fell off at the end. So their final record, that record improvement could look even better just to give them a little bit more of an argument. But my number 1 pick, staying consistent with my predictions throughout the standings, I got Tyronn Lue. I think that the Clippers are going to be the 1 seed, obviously, through my predictions. And so I think with that, if you're talking about this team making a 1 seed run with like Kawhi playing 55 games, Paul George playing 60, 65, and they make a 1 seed run, I think he deserves his due. I think he's been a really good coach throughout regular season and the playoffs for the past couple of years for them. And getting him some hardware would be at least really good to see, in my opinion.
Okay. Dev, did you have any of those coaches on your list?
I had JB, but that's it.
Okay. I actually didn't have anybody that you mentioned on my list.
Interesting.
Yeah, I thought about Michael Malone though because I feel like it's kind of popular that a lot of people think Denver can be like very good in the regular season this year. I think none of us had them as the 1 seed in our predictions, but they definitely have the talent to be that good. So I see the direction that you went there, like for sure. And then Tyronn Lue, Gabe is very high on the Clippers in their regular season hopes and even championship hopes. So makes a lot of sense, man. Shout out to JB though. I thought about having him on my list as well.
Yeah, definitely. I don't have much more to add there. Definitely some good picks that for some teams that could have some really good regular seasons.
All right, I guess I'll jump in and give my top 3. First off, I have one honorable mention, and it's Mike Brown because if the Kings somehow make the playoffs, he deserves a little bit of love, man. And I don't know, I'm a Kings homer this year. Like I mess with the Kings. We're fans of the Kings now, so hopefully they do well. But top 3, my number 3 is Willie Green. We talked about how good we think the Pelicans can be this season, especially in the regular season. And he changed the culture last year, but now I think wins are going to be on top of that. And people really notice like how good of a coach he is. And he's done a great job of just turning this franchise around. And they were able to be very competitive in the playoffs. I think a lot of that will translate over into the regular season, especially with Zion coming back. Number 2, my homer pick, Joe Mazzulla. I think the Celtics, obviously I said that they will be the 1 seed in the Eastern Conference, or I hope that they will. And if he gets his team back to the 1 seed or, to the 1 seed this year as an interim head coach, I think that would be a very good story and that there would be no type of fall off with even the travesty of the head coaching situation in the offseason. That can be very good. And number 1, staying consistent with who I think could be the best team in the league. I got Chris Finch as my coach of the year, man, because I think this is a team that can win 60 games during the regular season.
That makes a lot of sense. Just, going off of like my number 1 pick and your number 1 pick are both our teams. So we're like, okay, they're going to be really good and they're going to make it. Now 2-3 a little bit different. I do like the Willie Green pick a lot. I did not make my list, but definitely strong considerations. I think the Pelicans are going to be good. I kind of took him off my list because while I was really high on them, having him as a 4 seed, I think that opinion is kind of like their ceiling. And so I think a little bit more realistic of an expectation might have them somewhere in the playoffs, but not home court advantage. And so I don't know if you're getting the award in that range, but still definitely a phenomenal coach.
Yeah, definitely. I also have Willie Green on my list as well at number 3. So definitely a good pick. I think the Pelicans are set for a big improvement over what they were as a whole last year. Obviously, we remember how good the Pelicans were to end the season, but when you're thinking about a coach of the year standpoint and how much this Pelicans team and record is likely going to improve from this past season, Willie Green's going to have all the love for that award as far as I'm concerned. Chris Finch gets a lot of love from me as well. He was number 2 on my list. Like you mentioned, I think the Timberwolves have that upside to be the best team in the Western Conference to push for 60 wins. And then JB Bickerstaff, following with my prediction of the Cavs being the number 1 seed, he was my winner of Coach of the Year.
I like it. All different picks. Love to see it. I'm drawing a blank. Who won Coach of the Year last year?
Would that have been why am I blanking on the Suns?
Would it have been
Monty? Was it Monty?
Monty?
It was okay.
I think it was.
I was about to say the only 2 people that I could have seen getting it last year is Monty because they had the best record, or Udoka.
Yeah, I feel like it's pretty consistently. I feel like it's consistently like if your team has the best record, you're more likely to not going to win it. But then there's the occasional like Tom Thibodeau, and I know Steve Kerr didn't win it every year. Like even though the Warriors were clearly the best team every single season, so some years it changes, but it's typically like if you have the best record, you're probably going to win the award.
Right. Yeah. That's why I put Michael Malone on my list over Steve Kerr, even though I had the Nuggets at 3 and the Warriors at 2. Because I'm like, I don't know. Because if those teams switch places, Nuggets at a 2 seed, that might give Malone the award. But Warriors at the 1 seed, Kerr's a little too successful, a little too tenured. I think it's like he's a little beyond that. And then I don't know. Good. On the East side, I'm just like, giving it to an interim head coach would be like a crazy story, but I don't know. I couldn't commit to the pick like that, I guess. And then I just was not putting Doc Rivers in my Coach of the Year considerations. You really hate to see it because I had the Sixers at the 1 seed, but I'm like, I just couldn't make that decision in good conscience.
I thought about it. He was in consideration, but he did not make the cut.
Yeah, Doc has to beat these allegations. I will say, though, do y'all remember the video from a few weeks ago where he was talking to James Harden and they had him like mic'd up or something like that? And he's basically telling James, like, this is what you have to be for us to be a championship team. I think Doc is that kind of like, if he can just continue to coach like that, they have a chance to like make some noise in the playoffs, man. I see a lot of people are very high on Philly, like. They think they're going to be the best team in the Eastern Conference this season.
Yeah, I had them at the 1 seed. I'm those people.
Yeah, you are. I'm like,
yeah, understandably so. It's a good team on paper, at least.
Definitely. All right.
They're gonna get plenty of love from me, man. I'm just saying.
Shout out Philly. All right, where are we going next, Dev?
Where are we going?
Let's go Depoy. Let's go Depoy.
Depoy. All right.
We were talking before you got on the call, Gabe. Like, I struggled finding like 3 names that I really like wanted to put on this list. It was tough because a lot of guys are hurt, and that kind of like slimmed out the pool from what we were working with last season.
Yeah, I was thinking people like Jaren and stuff, and I'm like, oh, he's gonna be out. And then it's like, oh, like Draymond was kind of like almost unanimous before he got hurt last year, but I'm like, I don't know, he's probably gonna regress a little bit, and the whole like locker room thing, I'm like, I just don't see an award coming his way. So at 3, I got Bam, just because I think he still does so much on defense for that team, and if they sort of exceed expectations again, now looking a little bit thinner, especially losing a guy like PJ Tucker, who's sort of known for defense, if they can kind of upkeep their defensive production and he's the centerpiece of that, I can see him getting considerations. My number 2 was Time Lord. I think the award was his last season, and then he just didn't make it to the finish line, went out. And so I think this season, if he plays a little bit more consistently, especially towards that back half of the season and the Celtics defense stays really good, which it should, all things considered, I think he'll also be heavily up there again because, he should already have one. And then my number one pick, this is kind of a homer pick. I put Ben Simmons. Back when he was like healthy in Philly, he was like getting top 2 behind Gobert, and that was about it. And so now I think if he comes back to this Nets team that was not defending nothing last year, let's be honest, and he like puts on a show and makes their defense actually solid as sort of the leader there, and obviously he's not being looked at to score, not being looked at to do a lot of things on offense. If he can really key in on that defensive end and really put on a great performance, I think he could snag this award, especially because that team's going to have a ton of eyes on them.
The Ben Simmons redemption tour. Okay. I wasn't expecting you to have, when you said homer pick, I was thinking like Raptors.
That was like, especially
No,
I'm with it, but
I like Ben Simmons, man. It's something about just like he's like a unicorn in a different way. It's not like he's 7'3" with a crazy jumper. He's a unicorn because his skill set's just like so unique. You don't see that anywhere else. So it's just like it's fun watching him play because it's not something you've seen often. And we haven't seen it for over a year now, so it's like I'm excited.
Okay, that's a hot take. I'm not gonna lie, but I like it. I like it. I wanted to ask though, do you think that Rob Williams missing like the first 6 or so weeks of the season is going to hinder him in this race, or you think when he comes back, he's not going to miss a beat and he's going to get back into that conversation?
I think it makes it a little bit harder, and that's why I have him at 2 and not at 1, because obviously, like, that happened a lot last year with, like, I don't know, Draymond definitely fell a couple spots, but he missed, like, pretty significant time. But, like, I think there's something to be said with missing the beginning of the season versus missing the end of the season. I think, like, Pascal Siakam last year, when I think about it, it's like he missed the beginning of the season, but then he played so well throughout the rest of it that he got that All-NBA spot. And so it's like a little bit of recency bias involved, I think, will help him being there at the end versus being there at the beginning. So I think it'll be enough for him to maybe not win the award, but he'll definitely get into those strong conversations.
Makes sense.
It's definitely a good point about recency bias. If a guy's out there performing at the end of the year, it's a lot more impactful for award's sake than if you're missing time at the start.
Especially when voters don't watch basketball.
Yes.
Very true.
Yes.
Very true.
Okay. I'll give him my top 3 in a second. I did have like Rob Will on my honorable mentions just because I think the injury might hold him back a little bit. But my number 3, this was my wild card pick that I was telling you about, Dev. It was Ben Simmons. That was my wild card guy because for the same reasons Gabe mentioned, if the Nets like go from a horrendous defense to like maybe top 15, top 17-ish, like Ben Simmons will be the sole reason because of that. Like he is the fill in the gaps kind of guy that they need. And I think that will like really look good for him to get back into that defensive player of the year conversation. Because like Gabe mentioned, he was number 2 the last time Rudy won it, and he was my pick that season. I thought he should have won it that year. But this can be a nice redemption tour for him, man. I'm happy to see Ben Simmons back. My number 2, I really wanted to put this guy in number 1, but I couldn't this year, man. It's Bam. He might be overdue for a depoy. He might, but my number 1 guy is Rudy, and I think Rudy's gonna have that big of an impact on the Timberwolves, man. I really do, and this will stamp him as like a super generational paint defender if he gets this next depoy because he already has like 3 of them. I think like he's been racking up defensive player of the year. So, and if he can take the Timberwolves from being like a middle of the pack type of defense to like a top 5 defense, we will see it is because of Rudy Gobert.
Yeah, I like all those picks a lot. I think obviously your honorable mention plus your 3 guys is my 3 guys plus Rudy. And obviously we know what Rudy brings to the table on defense, generational talent there. I just didn't put him because I think at this point it's almost like, I guess, spoiler alert, Jokic isn't on my MVP list because I'm like, he's not going to get 3 in a row. There's just no shot. And so at that point, I'm thinking the same thing. Rudy Gobert, obviously, it's not a bunch in a row like there was the Giannis year and things like that. And so I still just think it's just going to be like people don't want to vote for him because not only is it like he's won a ton of them, he's not the most popular guy. And so it's like yes, we know what he is, but I think he'll have to even exceed that, which is hard to do when you already led your team to a top defense by yourself.
I think the only thing that might help him this year is the fact that he's not in Utah anymore. So at least there's a little bit more of a narrative to get behind him. Obviously, it's a better team defensively in Minnesota, but still, if he can get them to being a top 3, top 2 defense in the league, then at least he's got that going for him. Where now, again, he's got another team being one of the best defenses in the league.
Yeah, I was going to say the exact same thing. Like, just him being in a new situation just might be refreshing for people to see that, and they might not think of him in a different light, but like in the case of Defensive Player of the Year, they'd be like, okay, like the Timberwolves got a lot better with him. Their defensive ratings are better. All the advanced stats are better with him on the floor. So it's like, okay, maybe he is that good of a defender, and it wasn't just, him getting everything funneled to him in Utah. But I definitely see why you might think that, because voters fatigue is a real thing, and I think we've seen it time and time again, and we'll probably see it again this year with potentially MVP, like you said.
Yeah, it's definitely a real thing to consider with these awards. For me, at number 3, I had Jared Allen. He was my non Bam Adebayo and Rudy Gobert pick. Similar to the thought with Gobert, just at a slightly lesser level. Cleveland were one of the best defenses in the league before Jared Allen went down with injury last year. So if you can keep Allen and the rest of this team healthy this season, a team that really struggled with injuries last year, then I would expect they're going to have one of the best defenses again next season. Throw that in with a better record, which shouldn't, but probably does play some part in some of how these votes get influenced. And I think he should be in with a chance to have himself at least in the conversation for the award this year. My top 2 was Bam being number 2 and Rudy at number 1. Rudy being in Minnesota, going to be on what I expect to be one of, if not the best defensive teams in the league, I think is going to be the biggest help for him. And not that Bam's going to be bad defensively, but if Bam is planning on taking more of a role on offense, it is possible we see a slight decline at times on defense, just simply due to the effort he's going to be exerting on offense. So throw that into the combination of Rudy being in Minnesota on what should be a much better defensive team than he's ever had, just based on the pieces that are around him. And I think that'll give Rudy the edge over Bam.
I love the Jared Allen love. I love saying that, man, because he allows like Evan Mobley to be the best version of himself on the defense side of the floor, because you don't want Mobley banging with 5s at this stage in his career. So Jared Allen is able to handle that. And I think at this point he might be like an underrated like rim protector. Like I feel like he doesn't get talked about in that conversation with the Rudys, the Jaren Jacksons. I feel like his name's never really brought up that much among like NBA fans. So I like seeing you give him some love in this race.
Yeah, I feel like Jared Allen isn't as flashy of a rim protector. He's not quite as athletic as some of the other guys, or getting as many of the big blocks, but he just positions himself well. He has good verticality. Not everything about rim protection is blocking shots, and Jared Allen is one of the best representations of that.
Hey, but he is not afraid to jump. That is for sure.
He is not afraid to jump.
I remember the first like time I ever saw him get some like TV love is when he blocked LeBron in the preseason. I'll never forget that.
It just seems like the split on this podcast just keeps being the Timberwolves, man. Like first Finch, now Gobert. Like,
hey, if you're gonna be the 1 seed in the West, you're gonna get some love.
Yeah. Gabe, what did I say when we were doing standings predictions? I'm like, you either think they're a 60-win team or a 44-win team, and there is no in between there.
Where did I put them at? Wait. Nah, bro. I got them at 5. I think they can be a 50-win, definitely a 50-plus win team at 5.
Okay.
And honestly, they're like a 5 seed that I think is winning a first-round matchup at the very least.
They're very polarizing. I'll say that.
They definitely are.
There are the people that aren't high on Rudy. There's the people that just despise Cat for some reason. And then there's people like me and Devin, like, pretty solid on Rudy. We think Anthony Edwards is going to take that leap. Think Cat's cool enough. Yeah.
Think Cat's cool enough? I don't know, man. Nah, we saw the I don't know, man. We saw Devin's center rankings list. I don't know if he's just cool on Cat, man. That was kind of.
That's why I said cool. That's why I said cool and not high. He did have, Cat at like 6 or something like that. It was a little crazy.
It was a little bit low, but Cat do still be very good.
He's not a defender. It's not a rim protector.
He is not a rim protecting defender. He is not that.
Let's go to 6-man. I want to save MIP for a little bit.
Yeah, MIP's got a good discussion for sure.
He's about to be, I think. I think it's about to be random, bro. I don't know. I think my picks are for MIP are kind. I can't actually. They're not that weird, but maybe not the same as you guys. You said 6-man though.
6-man. I only had 3 names for 6-man.
I just got 3 names written down, and watch me just look stupid and none of these guys even end up coming off the bench. I did have a little bit of fun with this one. For my number 3 spot, I had Malcolm Brogdon. You know, I think for him, this man just needs to stay healthy. He's already day-to-day right now, and it's only the preseason. So it's a little bit concerning. But I think if he plays his role the whole season, that's just like easy starting quality player, starting quality point guard. And so
he was a borderline all-star a couple of years.
And he's definitely like a different kind of player, definitely different style of player, I think, than a Marcus Smart. And so I think with his dynamic, he will get some increased minutes and like definitely will get minutes with the starters in certain points. And so with that, I think that he can put up some solid stats and give himself an argument. At number 2, this is where I really have fun. I put Russell Westbrook because he started coming off the bench. He came off the bench. And if Russell and it really just hinges on if he's consistently coming off the bench, because if that ends up being a thing where Russell Westbrook is your 6-man, he's by far, I think, the best bench player in the league at that point. Like, he played really bad last season, but 1, you don't expect him to play that bad again, and 2, it's Russ. That Russ is just, even if his shooting percentages are terrible, he's gonna have the stats to put himself in that discussion if he continues to come off that bench. So that's the contingency. My number 1 though is Jordan Poole. I think now Clay's back the whole season, so Poole will definitely qualify for the award. Probably be off the bench more so, because I'm thinking with Wiseman back, they're probably running Hammer Looney at the 5, Dre, Wiggins, Clay, Steph. So if that's their lineup, which I assume it would be, Poole will be that 6-man, come in. We know he just only continues to get better. If he would have just came off the bench more last season, I mean, Tyler Hero was on a tear, but it was really Poole was probably the next guy right after him. So I think this year, if Tyler Hero is starting, which I assume he will be, I got Jordan Poole.
Okay. I didn't think about Russ. I'm not going to lie. He did not cross my mind. But I will say, for Russ's sake, that would be best for him to be off the bench. So then he wouldn't have to worry about LeBron for most minutes, for AD, maybe most minutes, or even if they stagger him, whatever. Because we know one thing Russ can do is run with guys that are less talented than he is and make them look better. And the Lakers bench is not that talented, so he can make those guys look a lot better. So that's a good wild card pick, man. I don't hate that at all.
No, I'm definitely not against that. And Dennis Schroeder's out now, so they need their backup guard off the bench. So.
They do 3 to 4 weeks, man. Okay. I also had the same number 3. I had Malcolm Brogdon as well. Don't really have to touch too much on that. My number 2, I wanted to put this guy at number 1, but bigs typically don't win this award. And it's Christian Wood. I really wanted to throw him at number 1, but I think he's going to have a really good year off the bench. It seems like he's cool with the role, even though there was that tweet that he sent out after it was announced that he's probably coming off the bench. Not sure what that was about, but if he's bought into the role, he's going to play really well. He's going to finish a lot of games for them, which is really what's going to matter at the end of the day. And he's somebody that we've seen be a number 1 option on a bad team. So him coming off the bench won't be much more different than that. So I think that's going to be really well when he is able to play with Luka. We know Luka makes guys look 10 times better. So he's going to get a lot of easy points just by playing with Luka Doncic. And I also had Jordan Poole at number 1. This is my Tyler Hero pick this year. I'm willing to take this to Vegas that Jordan Poole will win this award as long as he plays the right amount of games off the bench.
Yeah, I don't think there's much of an argument for anyone other than Jordan Poole winning the award this year. Like you say, he's the Tyler Hero pick of 6-man of the year this year. As long as no one has a serious injury for Golden State that then sees him into the starting lineup, then that should be his award. Hence, he's my number 1 pick as well. I did not have Christian Wood here simply because I don't believe he's going to be off of the bench the entire season. Why I believe that, there's no credible source to that, but I find it hard to believe that McGee's going to start for an 82-game season and Christian Wood's going to come off the bench the entire season. Very well could be wrong, but I wouldn't be surprised if 20-25 games into the year, Wood starts being integrated into the starting lineup. And that's the only reason why he's not here for me. Malcolm Brogdon was my number 3, as you guys mentioned as well. Like you guys said, he's just a great talent to have coming off the bench. As long as he stays healthy, he's going to be in this discussion. There's no doubt about it. And number 2, I had Tyler Hero. Like you said, Gabe, like he very well might be starting. He might not be starting. I don't know what the situation is in Miami yet. The best guess I could come up with at the time when I made this list was that he would not be starting, but that hasn't been confirmed yet at this point. How they're going to manage their rotation with limited wings and the amount of guards they have, and when and where they're going to play Hero and Vincent and Strus and Duncan Robinson, that remains to be seen. But if he is coming off the bench, then I have him at number 2.
Yeah, really, I think that almost gives a stronger case for Poole, given the fact that, like, all of our number 2s are, like, guys who were like, wait, are they starting or are they coming off the bench? So with that, it's like maybe it's both. And maybe, like, for a week they're off the bench, and then for a week they're starting, and then it's like, do they even qualify? And then it gets lost. And then the whole season you just see that narrative form of, like, Jordan Poole is consistently coming off the bench, consistently, like, doing well off the bench. And then maybe you get later in the season, it's like, oh, some guys like a Tyler Hero or a Christian Wood. Shoot, maybe they play like 45 games off the bench, but, like, they're so back and forth that you don't even really think of them as a 6-man. And so I think that will almost cement Jordan Poole even further. And the fact that we know he's going to be off the bench is, like, the lock-in factor.
No Jalen Noel love? I was expecting to hear his name, man.
Man, I don't even know if he's going to get the minutes that he should be getting, and that just makes me sad because Bryn Forbes was getting a ton of love during the preseason. And, like, if he's playing well, he's playing well. But, like, oh, man, I love Noel's game so much. But hopefully he gets the minutes because Beasley's gone now. But
you guys are such homers, bro.
Forbes and Rivers might steal the minutes too much. I've been on the Jalen Noel train long before the Rudy Gobert trade was made.
Nah,
so.
bro.
That's fair.
Celtics fan and a Raptors fan here. These are two.
Hey,
these are
I am
two
an NBA
Timberwolves
fan.
fans.
I am an NBA fan at this point.
Unbiased. Another guy I wanted to shed a little bit of love to. I just don't know if he's going to have the production, but I think Bones Highland is a nice dark horse guy for this award.
Definitely.
He'll have his moments for sure. Definitely increased role. I just think the Nuggets are a team that's going to rely on their bench a little bit less with their top end talent. Yeah.
Yeah. The only thing that could help his numbers is the fact that Jamal Murray may end up resting a few games early on in the season, back-to-backs and whatnot. So even though he'll have enough games off of the bench to qualify, his numbers will probably get a bit of a boost from that.
Yeah.
Shout out to him.
That 6 man of the year, I swear, it's always somebody like that guy off the bench who's averaging close to a dub. And I do not know if Bones Highland is averaging a dub with, especially because Jokic is going to spread that ball out, and Jokic is going to play like 40 minutes a night. So
best I can see is like 14 for him, and that's like I think the best. He averaged 10 last year.
Yeah, but yeah, that's probably all he gets.
Yeah, I miss the days when it was like we knew it was going to be Lou Will, so we could all just pick Lou Will. And we could all be right about that. But now this season is like a little weird because it's like Jordan Poole is probably the only guy we really noticed coming off the bench. And then it's like Christian Wood, is he? Tyler Hero, is he? Malcolm Brogdon, yeah, but is he going to play a good amount of games because he's always a little banged up? It's a lot going into it this season.
It is tough. It might not be a lock like last season was, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'm worried, man. I got to go at least 1 for 6 on these picks.
Facts.
Should we do rookie? Should we do rookie of the year next?
Yeah, rookie of the year is a good one next.
Let's go. All right.
Do we all have the same number 1?
I would assume so.
Do we?
Let's find out, man.
Does he play for one of
Coloco.
Does he play for one of Devin's favorite teams?
He may.
He might.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, my number 3 for this is Jabari Smith. I think he's gonna come in, and I don't think he's gonna win the award, but I think he's gonna be in the conversation just because I think he's a guy that could come in and like not look bad, just because I think his game is kind of suited to like he can just take some passes from their star guards, make some shots, play pretty well all around, and just like be cool. I think like very high floor for him, I guess is what I would say. So it's like a safe guy to have at 3, but I don't know if the ceiling is there enough right away to really put him at number 1. Number 2, I have Keegan Murray because I think he's the guy who's most suited to come in and have that instant impact right away, contribute to hopefully some winning because that's the direction they're going into, probably more than any other team with a high impact rookie. But then my number 1 is Paolo. I guess you guys now know if you have the same number 1 as me. But Paolo, he's just looked really good in preseason, man. And obviously with number 1 pick coming in, I think he's coming into his team with the expectation that he's going to be their number 1 guy, their franchise piece going forward. And so I think the room for him to operate is going to be greater than almost any other rookie, obviously. I mean, like I said, Jabari's playing with some star guards. You got Jaden Ivey coming in to play with Cade. It's like really across the board. Chet's not even going to play at all. So all these top guys, Keegan Murray's playing with De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis. Like, I think while Paolo does have talent around him, that talent is not necessarily expected to be number 1 options like maybe some of the guys the other rookies are playing with. And so that for me was kind of the tiebreaker between him and some other guys that I think will also be really good. So Paolo at number 1.
Okay. I didn't have Jabari on my list, but I like what you said. I think he has the makings to have a very solid rookie year. He looked pretty solid in the preseason too on like just catch and shoot opportunities. So that's going to translate when you're playing with Jalen Green, who's looking like he's made some strides, and then Kevin Porter Jr. They gave him a payday,
a partial payday, a
Yeah.
potential payday.
That's great. Yeah, they gave him half a bag.
That is the new version of betting on yourself.
Definitely. So that's cool. My number 3, I had Jaden Ivey. I think he's going to be that perfect complementary guard to play with Cade, and I think might be a slow start like we usually see from rookie guards, but I think he can pick it up to get in the conversation later on in the season. I also had Keegan Murray at 2. I just think he's just such a solid player, and he's going to feed off of De'Aaron and Sabonis so well. And defensively, I think he's going to be solid. Offensively, he's going to get a lot of points on just like backdoor cuts and stuff like that, and showing the makings of being a solid jump shooter too. I really love Keegan Murray's game, man. And my number 1 was also Paolo. I think it's his award to lose at this point. He looks like the most NBA ready prospect. He looks like the prospect with the highest ceiling, and he's gonna show. I think like from day 1, he can be like an 18-point scorer like in this league. I think he's that talented. In the preseason, he showed me that he can make decisions out of the pick and roll, which I didn't see at Duke. So like his game is even more expanded than what I saw when he was in college, and I'm very excited to see him with Dev's favorite team in Orlando.
Yes, I also have Paolo at number 1. There's, like you said, his award to lose. He looks like the best player out of this draft class, and like you said, we're already seeing things that he either didn't get the opportunity to showcase or just didn't have quite yet in his arsenal in college. So he looks set to be in that number 1 role with great opportunity in Orlando. At number 3, I had Keegan Murray. Like you guys mentioned, he's going to fit in there perfectly. Great, good defense. Has been shooting the ball like absolutely. I know it's preseason, but like, man, he's every time he's on the floor, he's just shooting absolute money from 3. He is such a good 3-point shooter. That in of itself is going to make him very much a part of the Rookie of the Year race. And I had Jaden Ivey at 2. I think Ivey's upside is a little bit greater than Keegan Murray's is, although Keegan Murray will probably have more of an impact in a positive way right away. I think as the season progresses, as Ivey gets more comfortable, similar to how we saw with Jalen Green last year, similar to with Anthony Edwards the year before, you get a guard that might struggle a bit more early on, but as the year progresses, I think his upside and production will be much greater than Keegan Murray, and I think that'll give him a bit of the edge.
You know how there's always that guy that makes that like random February push for an award? I always think of like the 2018 Paul George thing. that's going to be Jaden Ivey. Like, I almost guarantee, like, he'll probably come in and, like, he'll show them flashes, but maybe have some down moments. Because, like Tyrik said, you know, guard comes into the league. It's not always smooth sailing. But then he's going to have that, like, little post-All-Star break. Like, damn, he's doing that. Then all of a sudden it's going to be like, oh, this is the Rookie of the Year. He's putting up, like, 25 a night the past 3 weeks while Paolo's only doing, like, 18. And it's like, but Paolo was still doing that 18 back when Jaden Ivey was doing, like, 12. So you got to look at the whole season. But I think that you will get those arguments where Jaden Ivey will probably have a crazy February or January or something, and then he'll insert himself into that narrative real quick.
I feel like that happens almost at like every season. Like Jalen Green didn't get in the Jalen Green last year, he didn't get in the conversation, but his second half of the season was so good, and it's like if he was doing that the whole year, he probably would have won the award. And Trae Young did the same thing. Probably some other guys I can't even think of. Like it happens a lot, especially with guards, because like even Cade didn't start good last year. Like he was kind of bad, not bad, but he was struggling like the first half of the season, and he got a lot better as the year went on. It's just a theme with guards, unless you're like Luka Doncic, and that's just how it seems.
Yeah, I mean, Jalen Green didn't push himself into Rookie of the Year conversations, but he would not have been all-rookie first team if he didn't have that run at the end of the season. That would have been Josh Giddey's spot, so definitely seems to be a theme. The same thing with Ant. He didn't win the award, but he made a late push against LaMelo. Like, definitely a theme.
Yes.
Last year was just such a strong class, though. Like, Jalen Green did have that classic arc, but, like, when you have Cade, who did sort of the same to even a greater extent, I think a lot of Cade's he was sort of in and out at the end or the beginning of the year, though. So, like, once he was consistently in the rotation, he really got to adjust and acclimate. But, yeah, overall, last year was just cracked, man. Like, when you have – like, Evan Mobley had in your generational rookie season and did not win the award.
That injury at the end of the year probably killed it, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's like, in a year like that Jalen Green that boy is about to be nice. He is about to be nice.
Who was y'all's pick before the season started last year?
Cade.
Mine was Jalen Green.
I did not have Scotty on that radar. I don't think he
I'm
was
not
my
sure.
top three.
I didn't think it. I definitely was not thinking Scotty just because of how many like more veteran pieces were on the Raptors. So I didn't think the opportunity would be there. But also, I don't know. Mobley wasn't like a big numbers guy either. So I think probably was Cade. Cade.
I think my top three. You can go ahead.
I was just gonna say the Pistons like had a lot less to work with last year. And so it was like him and Jalen were really the ones coming into situations where they could just have that room to operate. And I thought Cade was better. So
okay, I think my top three was like Jalen, Cade, and then Jalen Suggs was my three.
I don't remember what my 2 and 3 was, but I definitely could have had Suggs too. So I know I didn't have Franz, even though I was really high on Franz. But
I don't know though. Having Suggs with having like Cole Anthony on that team, Markel, a bunch of other pieces, I don't know if he would have been the perfect guy to put there.
See, but I didn't expect Cole Anthony to take that jump like he did. Like Cole Anthony was pretty solid. He's pretty good for like the most part of the season last year. And then Markel was hurt, I think, going into last season. So
yes.
He's always hurt, man. He is always hurt.
Sadly, that's why, spoiler alert, he's not on my MIP list.
Yeah, unfortunately. Hey, Orlando would have been my 10 seed if he was healthy, I'm telling you.
Man, I'm so, like, I love Markel, man. I think injuries are just killing him now. Bad.
Yeah, it is.
Whatever Philly did to him has to be studied.
Another 3 to 4 weeks, and he should be back, theoretically. So let's hope. Let's hope. And Isaac is day-to-day, but he's been day-to-day for months, so we'll see.
John Isaac, Republican.
Political talk on 3 Point Weekly?
Oh, man. That man should be in deep boy conversations instead. He's trying not to play basketball for whatever reason.
Yeah, and is in the wrong conversations, unfortunately.
The wrong conversations, man.
Okay,
right.
where we to next?
MIP?
MIP, I guess.
MIP. Okay. So right.
Get ready for like 10 different names to be said in this thing.
Go ahead.
I got 3 guys here, and like I can't even say it's in a particular order because it could really be number 3, and like I wouldn't be surprised at all.
It could be my number 15, and I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. It is the nature of the award.
Same.
At 3, I got Jalen Brunson.
Okay.
New situation, starting point guard away from a ball dominant player. I think he averaged around like 16 last year. I think he can get to a dub, but really a big thing with him too is he's about to go and be a starting point guard. And last year he only averaged like a little under 5 assists. And so I think a big statistical jump for him can be on the offensive end, and on the playmaking end rather. And so like if he can get up to like 22-8, say, I think he'll get into that conversation really strong. And honestly, in the situation he's put in, I think 22-8 is attainable. And then number 2, I have Keldon Johnson. There's a big hole on the Spurs. I think Keldon Johnson, especially in some rebounding numbers, showed a lot. There's going to be a lot of shots to take so he can up his scoring, and then just him continuing to be a defender, playing all around. He can do some really good things on a team that needs somebody to step up and do something. Then at number 1, I got Tyrese Maxey, man. He cooked the Raptors that entire playoff series, and it may be incredibly sad, but he looked like a star. He looked like the second best player on that team for like most of that series. So if he plays the way he played in that playoffs for at least like most of the regular season, I mean, he's not just going to be in MIP conversations. He's going to be in like all-star conversations. And I think if Philly is like in that 1 seed position, maybe he is an all-star. And that most improved guy usually does end up being a first-time all-star. So I think that narrative lines up, and he's just so explosive, man. Really exciting guard to watch. So even sort of that's even another trend with it is like you see guys that have won it in the past, like Ja, thinking back to people like CJ McCollum, stuff like that. If you're a young, flashy guard that sort of takes that jump, you're going to have the eyes.
Yeah, Maxey is definitely a great show. I didn't realize, though, the only thing I'll say now he's not on my list, but the only thing that held me back was, like, other than it was in year 2, he had, like, his MIP season last year. Like, he went up 0.5 points per game last year, which is absurd. And he'll probably make another jump this year, but, like, he was just so good towards the back end of last season. He went from a bad 3-point shooter to a really good one, that he'll improve. But unfortunately for him, at least for me, as far as the award goes, he made his most improved season in the year where you don't win the award, unfortunately.
I think that's something about Ja too, though. He still got the award.
You could, but then you're saying is Maxey about to average 25, 26 points a game this year? I don't think so, personally.
No, not with James Harden and Joel Embiid on the same. And Tobias Harris stood there too. That's 17 points a game. He's not doing that.
Yeah. Definitely going to improve, but unfortunately for him, he had his jump in the wrong year for attracting silverware, as far as I'm concerned.
Him and Desmond Bain kind of fall into that same boat, honestly.
Yeah, definitely. They definitely do.
I've been seeing a lot of people do. I love Tyrese Maxey too. All-Star though this year, I don't know. That's asking a lot.
And he definitely be the third All-Star, probably.
I think it's Philly. So. I think it's if Philly's in 1 seed position, because if there's that one team that's like super dominant, like 1 seed with like 4 games of separation plus, then that's usually when you start seeing like 3 All-Stars on one roster. But I think if he comes out and he averages like even like 22.5, 23 points a game, and the Sixers are like really nice, like he might be in them All-Star conversations.
That's a big jump if he does that. That's another big jump into
that is a big jump. It is worth remembering that 2 All-Star guards have joined over the summer as well. So it is going to be tough to get in. You got Donovan Mitchell who are fighting now. You got DeJounte Murray in now. So it's going to be a lot harder to get in than it has been in previous years in the East.
Like, remember, Kemba was an All-Star starter just 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Don't forget.
Wow.
And now
he's that total points leader
night before opening day.
Exactly.
Crazy.
Okay.
Crazy.
Good picks, though, Gabe. I think all those guys have cases to win the award for sure.
There's about 20 guys. There's like 20 guys who have cases to win the award.
Yeah, I threw Maxey on my honorable mentions. Like I think Quentin Grimes can take a jump, but I don't know if it's going to be big enough for him to jump into the conversation. And then there's other guys that I even thought about, but my number 3 was also Jalen Brunson, and I really wanted to put him at number 1, honestly, because everything that Gabe said, I think can happen. I think he can take that big jump to 22 points a game and up his assists even more, and just showing that he can be the lead guard on the team. And we all, except for Gabe didn't think the Knicks would be playing him, but we wouldn't be surprised if the Knicks were a 10 seed because they have a pretty solid roster, and Jalen Brunson was their big addition. So I think he's gonna play and show like he was worth that money. So very high on Jalen Brunson. My number 2, I had Wendell Carter Jr. at number 2. Man.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm buying in on the Wendell Carter. I'm buying in, man. If he can continue what he did second half of the season last year, there's no reason why he shouldn't be in this race. I mean, that could be the guy that can really jump into All-Star conversation, if he's playing at that high of a level this season. And my number 1, I had a Tyrese, but it was Halliburton, man. I think he's a shoo-in for like a 20-10 type of season. Probably more, as long as he plays the right amount of games, which I think he should. Enough games to get the award, man. But I love Tyrese's game, and I think he's going to make things so much easier for guys like Jalen Smith, like Benedict Mathurin, Chris Duarte. Like, he's going to be a joy just to watch, especially in the early part of the season. I think he can definitely win this award just off of statistics alone, man.
Yeah, definitely. Like you say, he's in a great situation now. He's got the backcourt to himself. He's not with Fox anymore. Brogdon's been traded. So he's in a great situation to have all the keys to create his own shot, create for others. Might not have as many opportunities on the catch and shoot anymore, but he's going to be in a great spot to have a great season, no doubt.
Yeah, I think it'll depend a lot on what voters kind of look at. If you look at his just total season stats from last year, then it's he's coming up from 15-8, and 15-8 to 21-10 that's huge. But then if you look at just his Indiana numbers, 20-10 is you're right. 20-10 is not even half an assist up and only 2.5 points. So that's
what I'm hoping. I'm hoping he plays at least the majority, at least 70-ish games, because we know they're probably going to be tanking, and Tyrese is really damn good, so they'll probably want to sit him some games. But if he plays 68 to 70 plus games, I think his numbers will kind of jump off the page a little bit, because his Indiana numbers were really good, but that was just a small portion of last season. If you can get the full, calendar year of that, I think, voters will look at that and be like, okay, that's a big time jump for him, being the lead guard for an entire year.
I think that's his case. But then it's it would be a little bit of an anomaly, I think, to give it to a 15 seed type player. But I mean, obviously I had Keldon on my list, so it's perfectly possible. But I think usually that MIP kind of goes to an impact player on somebody who's kind of contributing to winning, which Tyrese can definitely do that. And I think we've seen that. But like you said, he might do that a little bit too much and get himself sat.
Definitely depends. It depends, man. I did want to mention this. I hate the precedent of John Morant winning this award, because I feel like voters might be more inclined to look at, even though Tyrese is a third-year guard, but guys like Anthony Edwards, if he makes another big time jump, they might look at him as an MIP guy again. I really hate that precedent, man. I've been seeing people say Cade should be in this race this year. I'm yeah, but Cade's supposed to improve. He was a number 1 pick. He's supposed to be a lot better. I hate that precedent, man, because John Morant, I don't think he was anywhere in my top 3 last year, because I'm that's so obvious. Ja's gonna make a jump. We know that's happening. Same thing with Anthony Edwards. He's gonna make a jump. So I hate that he won. I don't hate that he won the award, because I'm not gonna hate on the man for winning the award, but I just hate the precedent that it's set for probably potential future winners of this award.
Yeah, it is a nice award to have for guys that aren't typically recognized as the best of the best in the league, guys that are a little bit more under the radar. To your point of guys being mentioned in MIP discussions this year, I've even seen Zion thrown around in MIP discussions. I'm if there was a comeback player of the year award, maybe, but he averaged 27 points a game last time we saw him. What is he improving from? Is he going to go out and drop 30? Sure, that's good, but that's not most improved player. So It definitely could hurt how the award gets voted on moving forward for sure.
That one is wild. Honestly, I think coming back from injury should never be argument for most improved player. I think it should be like you jumped from like these numbers to these numbers just playing. Like if your numbers look bad because you were playing hurt or like you were just out for a year and you've had like a whole year of development time and all that, like while you're kind of rehabbing and while you're out, if then you like come back a better player, I don't think that should not be the same category.
I agree.
Yeah, so I feel too. If there's a comeback player of the year, great, but there's not. So that's its own thing for sure.
Hey, real quick, I put a scoring title on here. If you guys didn't, I just want to ask you guys off the top of your head who you think will win the scoring title.
Jason Tatum.
Okay.
Who's gonna win the scoring title? I'm gonna go with Trae Young.
See, because I wrote down 3 names, and I wrote down like Giannis because he just scores at will, KD because it's Kevin Durant, and then I also had Trae Young written down because I was thinking I'm like Trae Young averaged like 27, 28 last year, and now he has a good playmaker passing to him sometimes. I'm like, that's going to up the percentages a little bit, and even just that could get that man to like 31, 32 easy.
Yeah, he's definitely going to have a lot more easier looks this year, whether it be via DeJounte's playmaking or just the fact that they can't blitz him and triple team him all the time. I mean, they can, but they're going to lose. So, all right, let's get to my MIP picks here. I did not have Jalen Brunson at 3. We'll start with that. Definitely like the pick. I think he's got the chance to be in the conversation for sure, but he did not get on my list. Honorable mention to Devin Vassell, who was not part of my top 3, but was the next man up. Someone's got to take up some of the opportunity in San Antonio. I think Keldon Johnson is going to take up a big part of it, but I think Devin Vassell is going to be part of that as well. He should get some more opportunity to play at the 2 this year, which should help him a little bit as well. So hopefully that all in combination gives him a bit of a chance to find his game a bit more there in year 3. My number 3 was Lauri Markkanen with Utah. He showed great flashes over the summer, and as much as everyone is, I'm not very high on Utah heading into the season. I think Markkanen is going to be one of the guys that gets a ton of opportunities due to the fact that it's not a great team, especially once more vets get moved out over the course of the season. But it does appear as though Markkanen is going to have that starting 4 job. And other than Sexton, like he arguably could be the next man up on the offensive end, get to show his shot creation a bit more than he did last year in Cleveland. So I think there's an opportunity for him to probably have the biggest role he'll ever have in his career offensively. And because of that, showcase some of the offensive talent he gets that he actually has that he doesn't get to showcase in the roles that he'll have on any other team. Number 2 is another San Antonio guy. This is where I have Keldon Johnson. He was brilliant to end last season. He just went from a guy who was shot the 3 a bit, but was a pretty good slasher, a physical driver, could defend a little bit for you, fairly good rebounder. And then all of a sudden, he was 7, 8 shots from deep at night, and he was hitting them from like relatively good efficiency. And that just came out of nowhere mid-season. He's now had an offseason to continue to work on that development. As you guys mentioned, he's going to have more time and more opportunity on the ball with DeJounte Murray out. They're going to rely on someone to create offense for them, and Keldon Johnson is going to be a big part of that. So I think we see another big season from him. And my number 1 was Wendell Carter Jr. I had to give him my love. With his production last year, he's got lots of room to improve. I honestly thought he averaged more points per game last year than he did, and he's only around 15 points. I think there's definitely a world where he gets up to around 20 points per game, continues to improve his 3-point shooting efficiency, considering last year was the first year in the NBA he actually regularly shot 3s. He might get some more time at the center position as well this year, which is just going to mean a bit more spacing on this Orlando lineup. He's going to have more opportunity to not have someone clogging the paint for his very good driving ability. So I think Wendell's in a great situation to continue to improve, have a little bit more flexibility on the offensive end this season. And if you're talking about a guy who's going to be on a team that's competing a bit and pushing for an all-star spot, I think Wendell Carter is going to be that guy. So he's my number 1.
What a great argument. We got Wendell Carter's biggest fan. That's the perfect guy to give an argument.
Got to push the narrative, man. Him playing with Paolo is going to help out a lot too. Just another guy to take some of the offensive pressure. So that could just mean, like you said, a 20-point per game season from him. Like I would not be surprised at all by that.
Well, it's definitely in the cards. I'm interested to see how they operate between him and Franz and Paolo as well, with Wendell being operated up from the high post and around the free throw line. There's a ton of opportunities there for Wendell to get more assists from backdoor cuts, screen actions from their two wings as well. So I think if they want to, they have the opportunity to build a lot of their offense around Wendell and have a lot of success with it, even though he's not the primary guy. But I think they can get the ball in the hands of their primary guys and really get situations from it.
Yeah, I think they could get hit the hardest by the voters not watching basketball syndrome, because like you're talking about three really good front court players. One that's you would assume would have his sophomore leap. One who's probably going to come in and was our pick for Rookie of the Year, and then Wendell now. So it's like maybe their numbers don't look as good as the way they're actually playing, because they're all getting those touches and kind of spreading them out and just trying to play the best version of ball. But like, I think if you really take a detailed look, you'll be able to tell this season how well each of them are doing.
The Magic getting 2 award winners would be kind of crazy.
That would be pretty crazy. I would fully be here for it.
This is pro Orlando Magic 3-point weekly.
Definitely.
Magic
If other than specific Orlando Magic podcasts, at least for me personally, this might be about as much Orlando Magic basketball as anyone else is ever going to watch otherwise. So other than the Raptors, Orlando will be pretty much next up on my ticket of games to watch every night this year. So
I was gonna make a YouTube video whenever I make my return about like my top league pass teams this season.
Yeah,
and Orlando's on that short list of about 6 or 7 teams.
Definitely.
Orlando and Detroit, man. Orlando and Detroit are going to be the pride of young Eastern Conference basketball.
It's the pride of 3-point weekly. We talk about those teams probably just as much as anybody.
Yeah, probably more, honestly.
It really comes up every week. Which I guess it makes sense. We're doing some pretty broad like concepts here. Like we have done videos where we're talking about all 15 teams in the conference, or like talking about ranking top players and all that stuff. And so it definitely gives a lot of opportunity to talk about a lot of different teams, which is nice. But like, it's just fun, man. Highlighting stuff that not everybody's talking about. Like, I don't want to talk about LeBron and KD, and I would talk about Kawhi though and all the other stars. But like, I got to talk about the little bit more obscure stuff, the stuff that's actually interesting. We don't already know.
That's because the smaller, like not fan bases, but like small market teams, their fans show out the best. So 100%. It's like we gotta show love to them, because not everybody wants to hear Lakers talk or Nets talk or Warriors talk. Like some people just want to hear like talk about Cade Cunningham and the Pistons or Wendell and the Magic. Like some people want to hear that stuff. So that's what we're here for, man. Shed light on the small market teams.
Definitely. And let me tell you, I'm excited. I'm pretty much more excited to watch any small market team than I am like the Lakers or the Nets headed into this season. 100%. And that's just me.
I think it helps that none of the three of us are from big market areas. I mean, do some of us like some big market teams? Yeah, I would say so. Obviously, the Celtics are a pretty big market franchise. Maybe Boston's not the biggest market by itself, but big market franchise, I think.
Yeah.
Toronto's kind of the opposite. Really huge city, but maybe because of that, like playing in Canada, it's not the biggest free agent draw in the world, but still like a massive city, massive fan base. But kind of drawn to those teams. But us personally being from our smaller areas maybe helps us shed that light a little bit more.
Definitely. All right. So,
MVP.
Time of the video. MVPs.
Dude, my predictions are so boring, bro. I got the most boring MVP predictions, but I want to be right.
Yeah, I'd let MIP be where I had my fun, but MVP trying to be accurate.
Yeah, same.
All right.
I had to push the narratives at MIP.
Yeah. At number 3, I have Luka. I think his stats are going to be like ridiculous. He's going to put up Luka Doncic stats. Luka has been like one of the guys that's talked about in this award for about like 3 years now. Has not broken through yet, but now with a new it's going to be a new MVP this year. Well, I mean, maybe it'll be a repeat winner, but it's not going to be Jokic. He's not getting it 3 times in a. He's not getting it 3 times in a row.
It might, man. They love
I would-
media. Actually, not the media voters like Jokic.
I would take it to Vegas that we're not getting a 3-time in a row MVP. And so I think it's going to be a new guy, and Luka's like one of those guys that's always hanging around the convo. The Mavericks will probably not be good enough, but if they were, that would, I think, be the pathway for him to get the award. Because numbers-wise, narrative-wise, he'll be there. It's just the winning. Number 2, I have Giannis. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. If you're the best player in the NBA, you're going to be in MVP conversations. Simple as that. I don't even really want to go into that. And then my number 1 to stay consistent with my picks is Joel Embiid, because I have the Sixers as the 1 seed. I think he's going to come in, be a dominant force. He was second to Jokic. And now I don't think Jokic is getting it 3 times in a row. So who's been second? It's been Embiid, man. And for parts of like last season, I think it was Embiid's award. And so him coming back, obviously, you can argue that, maybe he won't play enough games. But honestly, I think he has it in him. I think with that core of maybe Harden being a little bit revitalized, with Maxey taking another step, with Tobias, the load on him might be a little bit less heavy. And will that make his numbers go down a little bit? Maybe. But I think that their winning can go way up. His numbers will still look really good. And I think he'll probably put up a lot of dominant performances, or maybe he's not playing fourth quarter, so then his numbers suddenly matter a little bit less because he's getting his work done in 3. So, I mean, with all that being said, I think just to stay consistent with who's my 1 seed prediction, and I said that really weird, my 1 seed prediction, and who's gonna do the best throughout the season. I don't know why I can't talk right now. Joel Embiid. Let me stop talking. Joel Embiid.
My man just got nervous.
Because I know you guys are about to tear me apart.
Nah, those are all very solid predictions, man. Very solid. Okay. I'm gonna start this by saying when I was throwing my list together, I wasn't very confident in what I put together. Most years I usually am. This year, not so much. We kind of talked previously how weird the MVP race might be this year. Like, it might be a lot of different names in the conversation. I'm gonna start this by saying honorable mention. Dark horse guy is Anthony Edwards. I couldn't find the space to put him in my top 3, man. I could not do it. But I do think if Ant has the jump that I think, and the Timberwolves are the 1 seed, he's going to be in some type of conversation. With the precedence that's been set for this award too, where it's like now it's not given to the guy that's the best player on the best team in the league. There's a lot of different variables. That's why I think it might go against him a little bit. But I think this can be the year where we see Ant kind of jump into that realm. My number 3, it's my homer pick, man. Like I said, Jason Tatum can win the scoring title. If he does so, I think he can be in the MVP race. Just continues to get better and better each season. We saw his defense step up last year. His assist game was getting better as the year went on. If he can put that together for a full season and the Celtics don't have a drop-off, like I think they will still be very good, he can definitely be in that race. I had Luka at 2, and we said, like, well, the Mavs might not win enough games or whatever. I feel like if you're a top 6 seed now, it doesn't really matter. As long as you're a playoff lock, you will kind of be in that conversation if your numbers are ridiculous enough. And I think Luka has the makings with Jalen Brunson now off the team to have like a ridiculous statistic season with potentially still being like, maybe he can get a 6 or a 5 seed. And that might be good enough for him to win the award. Like, it really might, just how competitive the Western Conference is going to be this season. And I also had Joel Embiid at number 1. I think the voters will just kind of look at him like it's probably his time to win the award. And it will be tough for Jokic to win it again. I think it might even be tough for Giannis to win it again. And Joel's, I think he's still going to do the same things he was doing last year, like averaging a ton of points, rebounding the ball like crazy. Defensively, I think one of the more like he's another guy that doesn't really get talked about when it comes to best defensive bigs, and he's going to do all of that win. And the Sixers are going to win a decent amount of games this year too, potentially the 1 seed like Gabe mentioned. So I think Embiid has everything working for him this season to be the MVP. It's just a matter of having a full season, and I think he needs to finish the season stronger than he has in previous years, because I feel like that's where Jokic gets him or where Giannis could get him. Is Embiid kind of slows down a little bit at the end of the season, whether it's his play or just maybe injuries or something like that. He needs to have that complete season for him to win this award.
Yeah, definitely. I think that big ending is going to be really important. Yeah, definitely some good picks. I don't think there's anything you can argue against for those guys. That being said, I don't have Luka on my top 3, not because of his performance, but I don't think Dallas is going to be a top 6 seed, and like you said, I do think they do need to be a top 6 seed for them. For voters to consider Luka as a top 3 MVP candidate. So without that, I did not exclude him. I still think he'll get some votes. He'll probably still be in the conversation, but personally, I don't think that ends up with him being in the top 3. My number 3 is Nikola Jokic. Like you guys said, I don't think he wins the award again. I think the only way he wins it is if Denver are like the 1 seed with 60 or close to 60 wins. And if that's the case and Embiid and Giannis aren't close to as good, if not better than Jokic, then that's probably the only situation in which Jokic does win the MVP award, which isn't out of the question. But I do think there is going to have to be another great season from Jokic with a great leap within Denver to see them at the top of the West for them to have a chance. And I don't quite think that's going to pair up all in combination for Jokic to get the MVP again, but he'll definitely be in the conversation again. He's still one of the greats in the league. Giannis is my number 2. He, as you guys mentioned, best player in the league right now. He's always going to be in these conversations, and Milwaukee are going to be one of the best teams in the East again. And unfortunately for the boring pick, I have Joel also at number 1 for all the reasons you guys mentioned. Anthony Edwards was my dark horse pick. Hopefully he can get in here, but I don't think it's quite his year yet. But like you guys said, Joel's he's been the second guy up. Philly should be one of the best teams in the East this year. I think he's in a great situation from a narrative standpoint, or a poor narrative standpoint from the guys around him like Giannis and Jokic. I think he's in a good opportunity to win this award this year.
Damn, we should do MVP like first or second.
Yeah, that's MVP, man. I really did not expect you guys to have him, because I feel like I've been really high on him for a while, and I've gotten a little bit of pushback on that. So I did not expect for that to be unanimous. I will be honest. Now I do think sort of that Luka thing. I think Luka's season is going to be that Steph Curry 2020 year, where the Warriors were like just not good enough, but he still finished second. I believe he finished second. At least he had to be top 3.
That was Embiid.
Oh, well.
Right.
What I swear there.
That was Embiid. Yeah, that was Embiid.
But the year that like Curry was the AC, he was in serious talks, but then that factor like prevented him from being number 1. But I believe he got some votes. So like I still think that Luka can finish top 3. And then it's just the thing with like Giannis approaching all-time great status, man. It's like I think like LeBron got his first 2 MVPs, and then they were like voter fatigue, Derrick Rose. And then it ended up
Derrick Rose deserved it.
He deserved. I'm not saying he didn't deserve it. Like obviously Jokic deserved his MVPs, and they shouldn't have been like Giannis's awards. But I think it made it a little bit harder. Now it's like it's been a little bit. He hasn't won MVP since the bubble. So, I mean, it's like it's been a minute. So at this point, it could come back around to where it's like, all right, we can give him another one. If I know we had a little bit of differing feelings on the Bucks, but if they come out and push for a 1 seed, kind of like what more you guys were saying, or at least I think Tyrik, weren't you a little bit higher on the Bucks?
I think I was the only one that had them at the 2 seed.
So yeah, like
4.
If they finish there and Giannis is doing Giannis things, and like Embiid doesn't play enough games,
Luka's team isn't good enough. Maybe Steph Curry gets an argument, but his team around him might be a little bit too good, so his numbers are a little down and things like that. Like Giannis could just end up being that we're defaulting to him type choice. And he gets that award just by doing Giannis things. He's gonna come out and he's just gonna quietly put up a super efficient 30 and 12.
If Giannis were to get a third MVP, the conversations around him is really gonna start heating up a lot more because his resume is already ridiculous for his age. If he has a third MVP to that, it's gonna put him into some unprecedented categories for sure.
Definitely.
I mean, yeah, especially because his ring is an impressive one. Obviously, there was the things about all the injuries in that playoff run, but
Still got a ring. He still got.
And it's not even just he still got a ring. It's he brought a ring to a small market team that hadn't won one in 50 years.
Bro, all my childhood, Milwaukee was terrible.
Yeah.
They were either terrible or an 8 seed.
It's not to me probably the same level as the Dirk type ring, just because the Suns were not the Heatles. But on that same token, still an incredibly impressive ring. So it's that one is, I think, weighted quite strongly amongst all championships. Plus, 3 MVPs is just there's not many guys that have done that. And then you're entering Bird, I think Magic, Jordan, LeBron, Bill Russell. There's not that many guys.
And he's done this all before age 28, which is
just crazy.
Scary.
Absolutely
Scary
crazy.
facts.
Now, the last time the Bucks got past the first round was the 2001 playoffs, pre-Giannis era.
That's Ray Allen.
Yeah, when Ray Allen almost took him to the finals.
Yep. Yeah. They'd been in the first round a bunch of times, but that's it. That's all they'd done from then till 2019.
Yeah, but they were just I think 2010 they were a 6 seed or something like that. They just weren't great or anything. They were cool.
Yeah, they were always just okay, but they were never great.
Yeah,
They were a good mediocre team.
Andrew Bogut, Brandon Jennings days. They were fun to watch, but that's about it. Brandon Knight.
And just to be clear on that voting, Curry was second in first place votes, but yeah, Embiid was second in voting, and Derrick Rose also got a first place vote. So take that for what it's worth.
First place vote in MVP.
Yeah, and he was 9th in MVP voting because of that. He got a first place vote.
Okay.
Love me some Derrick Rose, big Derrick Rose fan. But
wait,
come
where did Curry finish overall? Third.
Curry finished in third. Yeah, Jokic had 971 points, Embiid 586, and Curry 453.
See, that's even better. That's even better for my prediction. I had Luka at third. I didn't have Luka at second, so it lines up perfectly.
There you go.
See, my 3 spot, I had Giannis / Jokic at first, but then I scratched him out and put Tatum in there.
He's a homer.
I am.
He's a homer.
Definitely a homer.
I didn't have Scotty Barnes in MVP talks. Pascal Siakam gets better every year, Tyrik. He was always the third team. He's going to be first team this year.
That's because it's Gary Trent's team. That's why.
Oh, you're right. I forgot. Actually, bro.
President of the Gary Trent fan.
Clearly, you have not seen Flynn's sanity this preseason.
Yeah, I don't know it as. He played one game and then has been injured.
Clearly, you don't know about Flynn's sanity.
Insanity is crazy.
They were doing all the nicknames for the Raptors players on them Instagram posts. Scotty had the weakest one by far, bro.
What was it? SB4?
It was literally just 4. OG's was OG3, which I'm okay.
OG.
It's a little basic, but it has a nice ring to it. But 4, come on. You couldn't do something do something cute with it.
The nickname era is kind of dead.
Yeah, it's rough.
Now it's
at least a couple of the Raptors got something, but it's tough.
Yeah.
You get Steady Freddy in the claw and
Grand Theft Alvarado.
Spicy P.
That's hard.
But
Like
I
people
think
just
that's-
call Zion Z. Like, okay. Where's that? Yeah, like nickname era is dead.
Chris Paul ruined nicknames, man. It's now just initials number.
He was the president, but for the longest time, people still had nicknames. Now it's just like initials and number.
Yeah.
Hey, the hardest initial number one will still forever be PG-13. Like that's a hard nickname.
Yeah, he changed his whole numbers just to get that, so that's crazy.
And I gotta respect it, man. If there's ever somebody with like the initials TV, it's gotta be TV-14, bro. It's gotta be TV-14.
TV-14. I'm more of a PG-24 guy, though, man. Paul George, when he had that 24 on, was a different breed.
He was, but at the same time, that 2018 Paul George was that man.
True, but just watching PG like make Indiana relevant was just like so fun. I don't know why, but it was such an enjoyable time.
It was. And even though you knew that Miami were usually going to win against the Pacers, those were still a fun series to watch. It was always good basketball.
It's like I was such a hater and I was delusional enough to think like Indiana might have a chance if everything goes right. Of course they didn't, but it's like it was fun to think that.
Yeah, they were good enough that you could at least give them some benefit of a doubt that they might pull it off.
It's crazy that all that, and that still wasn't even the closest Indiana team to beating LeBron.
They took them to 7. They took them to 7 and 13, but they got blown out in Game 7 by like 35 points. Like it was bad.
Like that 2018 series between Cleveland and Indiana, like if LeBron doesn't hit that game winner,
and if they call goaltend on VO's layup,
like
that was clearly a goal.
a team led by Victor Oladipo would have beat LeBron, and he still swept the Raptors. Like, how does this even happen, bro? How does this even
Here's
happen?
the drama. It's coming out.
Bro, I kid you not. I became the biggest Indiana fan on the face of the planet.
Oh, for sure.
Going
Everyone
into
was.
that Game 7, I was just sitting there like, okay, if Indiana wins, the Raptors are going to the conference finals. If Cleveland wins, we're getting swept. And Cleveland won, and I think I literally posted on my story that day, and I was like, well, y'all, it's been a real good season.
Man.
And sure enough, and then all throughout Game 1, they were like, oh, look, the Raptors are winning. Look, they finally learned. Nah, they lost, and then they got swept, just like I said.
Yeah, they just be giving us fake hope all the time.
Don't get it twisted, bro.
We don't be having no hope.
2018 playoffs hurts, man, because we beat them the first 2 games of the conference finals. I'm like, oh yeah, we're going to the finals. Like we're probably going to end this in 5, and then of course it goes to 7, and once it goes to 7, you're not beating LeBron. No chance.
No shot. There's too many memories from those series that'll forever live in my head. It's not healthy. That game winner over OG will be in my head until the day I die. I'm not okay about it.
Yeah, I hate every like May and June. Like I just always get a bunch of LeBron highlights against the Celtics on my timeline. I know y'all see all these Raptor highlights too, so it's just like just keep ripping the Band-Aid off. Like it still hasn't healed, but they just keep ripping it off every time.
It is sad, but I mean, then we also get the good memories of like I get to see all the repost of like the Kawhi shot and all that kind of stuff. So I'm like, okay, maybe Cleveland fans are smoking my pack, but I'm on Philly pack all day. So it's what goes around comes around.
Hey, that Philly pack hit different every time.
What goes around comes around, man.
Love that Philly pack, man. When they had the confetti coming down, thinking they won that game, and then we won in OT. Like I cherish those moments, man.
Hey, it's really I feel like every team just has that team they beat up on and that team that beats up on them. For the Raptors, it used to be Cleveland beat up on us. Now it's Detroit. And then we get to beat up on some people. So it's just different dynamics, different matchups. And rivalries are good. rivalries are wonderful for the sport.
They're very good. I'm just glad they got rid of the whole division system because that was not the reason that rivalries existed.
I am a bit sad that I feel like if Donovan Mitchell got traded somewhere in the West or Rudy Gobert got traded somewhere in the East, that might have been a crazy rivalry because those two did not get along. I don't care what anybody said. Those two did not get along. And if they're playing each other like 4 times a year, then it was a first round series, that would be insane.
NBA Finals, Cleveland versus Minnesota. 7 games.
Give me a break, bro.
The 1 seeds. The 1 seeds, man.
The favorite.
Hot take. A 1 seed is not going to the finals next year unless it's the Clippers
or the Celtics.
I don't know, man. I got Milwaukee at 7 with Chris Middleton.
That's fine. That's fine.
I got Ben Simmons in 7 against Philly though.
The four seed's gonna be playing another game 7 on the road in y'all's books.
Hold on. Wait. Yeah, okay. Looking at my predictions, I have the Nets at 7th. So the Raptors are gonna beat them in the first playoff game, and then the Nets are gonna beat the Bulls. The Nets are gonna get the 8 seed, play Philly, and Ben Simmons is about to get on Philly pack crazy. Knock them out of the first round at the KD better. So they're gonna beat the Bucks in the second round. And then unfortunately they're gonna beat Tyrik Celtics. And then me as a Ben Simmons stan is about to be on Tyrik's ass the whole time.
I am literally a Ben Simmons fan. I have tweets over the offseason this Ben Simmons revenge tour is gonna be crazy.
Hey. But still, if Ben Simmons knocks the Celtics out, I know you'd be a little sad.
No, I'll be in shambles.
Especially just because that's the most hated on, man.
I'd rather lose before the finals, though, than lose in the finals again, man. That was such a just irritating time, bro.
I've been on both sides of it because, the Raptors went to 1 finals in my lifetime and they got it done. And the Bengals went to 1 Super Bowl in my lifetime and they were so close. And it was just it hurts my heart. Now we still are 3-3 tied for the division lead, and we're going to the Super Bowl again.
Yeah,
but it just hurts.
Yeah, I don't know about the Super Bowl again, but that false hope that you have when your team makes it that far, and then just for it to get ripped from you is just so depressing, man.
Yeah, definitely. I'll definitely take losing in earlier rounds if I expect to be losing out over losing in the finals, but before it was inevitable and I had false hope with the Raptors, I don't think I would have cared if we lost in the finals or we lost to Cleveland because I believed. So I wouldn't have cared. It was I figured we can get through it. And then sure enough, it was no, we don't got no shot. But it's whenever you have belief in a series especially past round 1, it's tough. It's tough.
It's a lot of fun though. Even if the Raptors would have lost to the Bucks after that Philly shot, I would have just rooted for the Warriors in the finals to take the Bucks out and just had a good time anyways. But the Bengals had never won a playoff game in my entire life. And then last year, for them to just win that first game, I was losing my mind.
That's a different run. That's a different run, man.
Right. And so then for them to win 2 more, I was just this is so surreal as somebody whose favorite team has never won a playoff game in my lifetime. It's so surreal that you just can't help but enjoy it. So it's we lost the Super Bowl, but damn, was that such a good time? Going to watch the Super Bowl at this big venue in Cincinnati and just having a bunch of people that are rooting for your team sitting there in the Super Bowl. That was crazy. And I would I couldn't trade that because the Raptors won the NBA Finals, but I didn't get that same atmosphere or environment because I'm from Cincinnati. There's not a lot of Raptors fans around there, but seeing the Bengals go far and seeing everybody around me be so excited was just such a good feeling, which I think is why I do that small market aspect of when those small market teams went big. Now I know what it feels like what that means to the city.
I feel you because when Carolina made their run this year, even though we lost in the championship, that run was still fun to be a part of. Making it to the Final Four, beating Duke, that was all fun. Even though we didn't get the job done, I'm gonna still remember that for probably the rest of my life. That was still an incredible run. but still losing in the championship, like nothing hurts more, man. I'm sorry.
No, definitely. I mean, that's how I felt, even to a lesser extent, just because of the magnitude of the series. And that's how I felt when the Raptors had their series against Brooklyn when DeMar and Lowry finally got to the playoffs. It was like Raptors had made it to the playoffs a couple of times in my lifetime, but I was way younger, and I mean, I didn't have as fond of memories of those because I just wasn't into basketball much at that time. I was still like 7, 8 years old. So I mean, when that first series came around, I mean, just winning a playoff game in that series was just crazy because it just wasn't a thing yet. So I mean, that game 7, that was brutal, and that was a first round series.
That was a crazy series, bro. Like, oh yeah, that series was wild, man. Because I'm a Paul Pierce fan and all, and KG fan, so I was obviously rooting for Brooklyn, but it was like that series was so crazy, man. And then the block at the end was just.
Dude, I think a Raptors series that I would want to go back and watch all the way through is Raptors versus Heat in 2016. Like
that went to 6, didn't it? No, that was 7. Yeah,
I believe it was 7, and that's the series where like Kyle Lowry hit that like half court shot.
Yeah, it was.
D Wade had that crazy,
and that was the Raptors' first ever conference finals run, I believe, and so
yes,
it's like that. I would go back, and that's a Raptors historical series, as weird as it may sound.
Yeah, definitely.
That was supposed to be LeBron versus D Wade, though. Y'all robbed us of that.
That's okay. We've robbed the American NBA world of a lot of things. So we're used to it. It's okay.
I watched probably most games in that series. That was a pretty fun series, man. That was. I always forget about Kyle Lowry's shot in that game. I think it was game 1 where he hit that shot.
I think so.
I know it was early on.
Yeah, I always forget about that.
It might not have been game 1. It might have been game 2 or 3 because the Raptors had that notorious game 1 curse.
It was in Toronto. It was in Toronto though.
Okay.
So maybe game 2.
I was about to say because Toronto had that game 1 curse forever where they just lost every single game.
Still exists.
Like we literally, like the Raptors literally dropped game 1 to the Orlando Magic and went on to have a championship run.
Yeah.
Like,
we did.
We lost to DJ Augustine.
DJ Augustine.
We lost to DJ Augustine before winning a title. Like
that's
the game 1 curse was so real.
People definitely thought the show was cooked after that.
They definitely did. Media.
Yeah, people were posting that Kyle Lowry like 0 point performance, or it might have been 1 point.
I think it was
probably.
No, I think it was 0 because then I think the next game his first points were at the free throw line, and he made that first free throw, and I was sending everybody's stats like, "Hey, he already beat out his point total for last."
And I will say there's been very few playoff series over the years that we've been in that have not been good to watch in one way or another. Not always as a Raptors fan, but it's been some fun series, no doubt. Other than a couple of the Washington series that have just been Raps one way or another, but that's about it.
Even last year, like series wasn't exactly. We were never in position to win that series, but we made it real interesting. About as interesting as a 3-0 series can possibly get.
I'll be honest, I watched 2 games in that series.
Yeah, first round's tough.
You missed Tyrese Maxey dogging on you. That's probably why I didn't make your list.
I watched
Tyrese Maxey.
I watched parts of that game, but by the time I turned it on, they were already up by 20. So I'm like, is this worth watching?
Yeah,
it's a Saturday night. Should I watch this or should I go out? I think I'm gonna go out.
It was definitely like that for the first few games for sure. But like you say, like Maxey was absurd, man. That was 2 of the most 10 efficient playoff performances ever of all time. Like, it was absurd. It's absolutely absurd. That will not happen again. That's for sure. At least I hope not.
Yeah.
You would think so, but the Raptors somehow find a way.
You're not wrong.
I feel like I don't know if every fan base feels like this, but I just feel like teams are like we'll just match up pretty well and like do decently and play up against like the good teams. But then it's always that random player. Like the DJ Augustine game, or like
Jeremy Lamb.
Or like the Bengals can beat Patrick Mahomes twice in one season, but lose to Mike White. It's always the most random players that beat up on your team. This is so frustrating.
Yeah, Aaron Holiday has done that a lot over the years against the Raptors.
The Raptors can
Jeremy
wall off
Lamb's
Giannis.
had a bunch of big games.
The Raptors can wall off Giannis for an entire playoff series, but they can't. They can't stop Jeremy Lamb or DJ Augustine. Like, what is going on here, man?
Chris Middleton's not random, obviously, because he's an all-star, but when he plays the Celtics, he turns into, like, prime Michael Jordan. Like, 1988 Michael Jordan. Like, can't miss a shot against the Celtics.
The Pistons turned into the bad boys against the Raptors, so what can I say, man?
No doubt.
Otto Porter looked like 2016 Otto Porter in the playoffs against us last year.
That's what we brought him in for that second round matchup.
What they call him?
I don't think he missed a shot. Automatic.
Yeah, automatic.
I don't think he missed a shot against us, man. Yeah. Like, for real.
Hey, I mean, when your grandpa scores 100 points in an NBA game, you're going to have that scoring gene. You're not missing.
Got to be like that.
Hey, craziest Will Chamberlain story is still, that man said there will be no more layups in this gym. And there were no more layups in that gym that day. There's a story, Matt. Really? It was like Magic Johnson. He said he was playing with Will, and then Will got tired of people driving at him, man. It makes sense that you never even heard it because there's so many random Will stories.
I heard the one of where Kareem said he was in the elevator with Will, and somebody asked him, like, how's the weather up there? And he spit on him.
Yeah, he said it's raining. It's raining.
Like, that is crazy.
Shout out to all my short kings, man.
Shout out to us.
Could not be me, but dude, those stories and all that reminds me. I saw like somebody post a picture of like Magic Johnson on the beach with like 12 women with him, and they just captioned it, "This had to be the day." And I was like,
bro, did y'all? We probably had this conversation before, but have y'all watched the Winning Time documentary? Or not documentary, but the series.
No,
I
don't think so.
It's about the Lakers on HBO. Y'all have to watch that. It's so good. It's like it's kind of like a reenactment type thing of like what the Showtime Lakers were, but the way they portray Magic is like this man was with a woman like 24/7 as long as he wasn't on the basketball court.
It's just like that picture of him with 12 women and this had to be the day. It's like, oh yeah. Hey, Tyrik, put you on the spot. How many days you going to the gym this week?
Well, last week I folded.
Oh,
no. You see what had happened, bro? Like we talked Wednesday. I got home. I had some homework to do, so I'm like, I don't feel like doing legs. And then Thursday I was busy, and it turned into me not going to the gym to do legs.
No.
Friday was game day. I didn't have enough time in the morning, so I didn't do legs, and I don't go on the weekend. So I folded. This week I'm gonna try and get back, man. I hit the gym today. I did chest today.
He skipped legs. He really went back and did chest.
Well, when I start my week over, I'm not gonna start with legs, bro. I'm just working in during the week, man. Might have to hit an extra leg day this week.
Oh my!
But I'm feeling better, man. I'm feeling better. I hit chest today, man. Had a good workout. So we're gonna get back to 4 to 5 days a week, man. I promise.
That's okay. I hit chest today too. Still been up in that cardio abs for Christmas, baby. Presents for everybody.
Okay. I got some chest not advice, but I tried this out. I saw it on TikTok. This dude says start your chest days with flies. And he said it'll get your chest going and you'll feel it throughout the workout. By the time I got to incline dumbbells, bro, I was damn near done. Like I could barely get 50s up. I was suffering.
Yeah, I could see how that would work actually.
God.
Yeah,
I was getting sick, bro. The same 3 people were on the benches for like 20 minutes, bro. Like I literally was getting done with my cardio and they were on there, so I'm like, okay, I'll just go do like a little light lift on the little chest press machine to kind of, get my chest warmed up a little bit while I'm waiting to bench. Don't want to wear myself out, but want to start working. I get done with that, they're still on that. So then my ass is like, okay, I guess I'm gonna keep waiting. So then I go over to do like the cables, do my little tricep push downs. Like, okay, done with this. They are still on there. So I'm like, okay, while I'm here at the cables, I guess I'll put 2 little flies on, do my flies over here. Then finally, after I do my flies, no, wait, actually, no, that's not even true. After I got done with the flies, they were still on there. And so then I went over and I'm like, okay, I'll get some shoulder action in today because I kind of still have not decided where to fully work my shoulder action in. So I was like, okay, I'll do some shrugs, I'll do some lateral raises, and then finally the bench was free and I was able to hit that bench. So sometimes it's the most annoying thing because I like to start out with it because it kind of like works everything. And then after you do that, you like kind of more focus on specific areas. But like, oh my God, sometimes people just do not want to get off the machine.
Should have just asked to work in with him, man. Some gym etiquette.
What most of them weren't like benching. It was like people deadlifting or, like I swear any girl that comes to the gym, I shouldn't say any. That's a generalization, but it's very common to do them hip thrusts. And then they'll do like the hip thrust and the squat back to back and be on there for like 20 minutes. I'm like, bro, I need 5 minutes to bench, 5 to 7 minutes. That's all I need.
Commercial gyms, man. Not a Planet Fitness guy. I do want to start going to an actual gym though because I need a workout partner, like desperately.
Hey, I go after class every day. And I have a black card, so I get a guest in free anytime.
You do?
I do.
I'm so anti-Planet, but I might take you up on that offer. I might.
Hey man. You gotta embrace the dark side. I know at first it was like the thing with Planet Fitness, the equipment low-key is nice. It's also just they have the fans running and stuff. And so like I went to a little bit more intense gym over the summer and it just be hot as hell in there the whole time. And it's like I like to work up a sweat, but
I like when it's hot though.
If I run a mile or 2 miles or a mile and a half or whatever, I'm sweating regardless. So I don't need it to be 1,000 degrees in there. Like just have it feel comfortable so the sweat is from me working, not from it being hot as hell. So I like planning for that. And then also it's like a little bit less of like, oh my God, everybody in here is jacked. It's like there definitely are some jacked people that make me think like, okay, I need to get there. But then there's also some people that are like, hey, I've come pretty far though. There's some newbies in here. Whereas when I was going to campus gyms and stuff, at campus gyms, 90% of people there are jacked, and 80% of them take 20 years to bench or do anything. And then it's like waiting simulator with a bunch of people that are way more in shape than you. And I'm like, I don't want to be here.
Bro, I refuse to work out on campus. Like, no. I barely even hoop on campus. But working out, every time I walked into RPAC, that gym would be packed. And this was during like when everybody still had to wear masks. And there were so many people in there. I'm like, yeah, I'm good, man. I'll work out at my apartment complex, man.
It took away my passion for it, to be honest. When it's super packed like that, and you're just like, you're almost waiting for longer than anything, really. It's like, oh, this is boring. This is not fun. Because when I first started going, I was doing that like 10 p.m., 11 p.m., but then eventually I worked into going at like, I'd go a couple of times like super early in the morning, like 7 a.m. because I had some friends that work night shifts, and I'm like, hey, I'll go at the beginning of my day. It's kind of the end of your day, meet up there in the middle. But then, yeah, now I'm at a solid 2 p.m. because this planet is never really that packed, except for that bench press today, apparently. But yeah, doing like a little like 3 p.m. or 5, 6 p.m. at the campus gyms was literally the worst thing ever.
Man.
That's my gym rant though. I'll get 4 days in at least. I think I'm gonna be here over the weekend not doing shit too. So I can probably get in at least 5 days this week, I think. Only day Wednesday is a little deep because it's class and print night. Thursday, I should be able to go Thursday before budget, but at the same time, some guys got plans this Thursday. So
Just go in the morning. Go before the sun's up.
I think I can't go Thursday night, but I've been an afternoon guy for a while, so the afternoons should still work out. Get a nice little pump in before we get to action.
My guy got plans. He's trying to be social. Love to see it.
Hey, it's a little more.
Love to see it, man. Dang, this was an entertaining game, but it's still 16-16.
Yeah, at least the Broncos figured out how to score touchdowns.
Dave is frozen.
Am I? It's not good.
You're
What?
good now.
No, I'm good. Okay. I was gonna say I look good on my end. So.
I was about to say, yeah, you were fine for me. So maybe Tyrik's got the
Maybe-
poverty
maybe.
Hey,
connection. I don't
Tyrik's
know.
leaking.
But Dave was the only one that, like, Gabe was cool, but Dave was just, like, frozen for a second.
Weird.
Well, I guess we know who has the best connection here.
Probably not me.
It does help that my router is about 3 feet that direction, and my PC that's right next to me is literally plugged into Ethernet. So the internet is all flowing in this room.
That's helpful. That'll
would
get the
help.
job done.
Mine does too, but apparently it still just decides to not work sometimes. So there we go.
Wait, aren't you at like school or something?
Yeah, I'm on campus.
So are you on like good Wi-Fi? Or are you stuck on like some campus Wi-Fi?
No, I'm on Ethernet. I got
Okay.
2 ports in my room.
Smart.
One for the console, one for the PC.
Dang, dude, Ethernet at school is fire. I'm not gonna lie. That's
Yeah, I think every room on campus has 2 ports, I believe.
dude, when I was on dorms, they weren't giving us nothing. The only thing I got out of dorms was scars, man. I should have filed a lawsuit. But
Yeah, I never lived in a dorm. I don't think I'm suited to ever, like, do that, bro. I'm too spoiled, bro. I couldn't do that.
it got the worst. My sophomore year, like half the guys on my floor were in the same frat. So then they would all like, it wasn't even the fact that they'd be like hanging out in the common areas or being loud, or there was definitely like some substance smells a couple times. But none of that was the problem. The problem was these dudes would have like a formal or some event or some party that they were going to. So they'd all decide to shower at the same time. And then all 4 of the bathrooms were taken for the same time for like a half hour plus. And it's like, bro, there's a whole floor of people. Like, can you please fuck off? Respectfully.
Respectfully, of course.
But then that too, and I really hate to say it too, because they are so helpful. But the way my class schedule was, like, I would get back from my morning class and then like have like a little time in between to like chill and get some homework done and do all that. And so I'd want to like, take a little quick shower, or just, you have to go to the bathroom. It's the middle of the day. The cleaning lady would always be there when I needed to get ready to do something. And I'm just like, listen, you're so helpful. You are doing a great thing for this floor. I really admire you for cleaning up after like 20 plus 19 to 20-year-old boys, because that is no easy task
It's
at
disgusting.
all. But I got stuff to do.
That's my thing. I'm a very clean person. So like the thought of sharing like showers and bathrooms with like 20 other people like makes me want to throw up, bro. I can't.
Yeah,
That's foul.
that's the only part I don't love. But the only reason I'm probably doing it is my dorm building is not like one of the main dorm buildings on campus. It's all single rooms, as compared to all the other campuses that are like 3, 4, 5, 6 people to a room, which is where most people end up staying. So that's where all the parties are. That's where everyone hangs out, whatnot. So it's like, if I want to go over there and go out for a few hours, I'll go over there. But pretty much everyone in this dorm is just like quiet, here to study, not really the most social or partying of the group on campus. So it's like, other than sometimes the inconveniences of shared bathrooms and stuff, which honestly I hear has been good, it hasn't been bad. So, but if I was staying in a typical typical dorm room, if this building didn't exist, then yeah, I probably would not be here. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I can't deal with like excessive dirtiness. I don't know what happened to me because really, when I used to live like at my parents' house, my room was never really the cleanest, but I realized it was just because I had too much stuff. Like, you get like a bunch of like Christmas presents, and then you get like birthday stuff, or you like buy new clothes, and it's like, oh, I don't want to like get rid of all the old stuff. And so then you just like acquire stuff over 18 years of living there. And obviously, some of it like gets thrown out as it just gets old, or you grow, or you redesign the room or things. But eventually I just had too much stuff. And then when I was back and forth between dorm life, especially, I had like a second of a lot of things for school. And so then I like come back during the summers and it's way excessive. But now that I'm just here in my own space, like I keep no clothes out. My desk is pretty organized. My bed is made every day. I was never a make my bed person in high school or anything. So like, it's just becoming an adult has been becoming like a low key neat freak.
Bro,
It's part of it for sure.
I'm weird. I've always made my bed like since I was a little kid. Like I'm just because I heard this one, especially since I heard this one thing where somebody was like, you always want to make your bed in the morning because if you're having a bad day, at least you come home and your bed is made. So something went right today. And I'm like, that's a very true statement because nothing pisses me off more. Well, there's a lot of things that pisses me off, but one thing that really does is like coming home to an unmade bed. Like that just irritates me. So I always make mine in the morning if I have time.
I think it makes you more productive too. Just overall, it's like, okay, you got up, and it's not always the first thing I do when I wake up, but I'll wake up, make a cup of coffee, just chill at my PC for a little bit. Once I start getting ready, it's like make my bed real quick, and now I'm doing things. And that's like a really easy task to start. And then all of a sudden, okay, maybe I want to go do the dishes, or maybe I want to go sweep up while I'm at it and already kind of tidying up and organizing. And it's like the gateway chore to doing more stuff.
Definitely is.
Starting the day out productive is just like the best way to have a good day. Like that's why I love working. I prefer to work out in the mornings because I know if I work out in the morning, I'm gonna have more energy for the rest of the day, and that's gonna help me like be as productive and motivated as I want to be to get stuff done.
Yeah, that's how I feel too. If I go out for a run, I wake up and I'm out for a run right away. Come back, have a shower, and then I'm good to go.
Yeah, man, I can't wake up late anymore. It's like I used to be like a noon is cool kind of guy. Now I'm up at 9:30, 9:45. Maybe if I was up late last night, I'm getting up at 10. But it's like I don't do anything right away, but I like to be up by then. So that way by like 11, my brain is on. I'm like fully there, and then I can really start my day full force. But I think my like midday exercise, like going at like 2:30 like I've been, it kind of then gets me to like that second little push. I get back, I take that post-gym shower, which then gets me like kind of amped, get ready, go to work and knock out that couple hours. And it's like a phase too. I feel like my day's always in phases. It's like wake up, schoolwork, class, gym, work, chill. It's just a repeating cycle because personally, I'm a guy that can do like really monogamous stuff. Like I'm just eating the same things every day, working out at the same time every day, going to class at the same, like just it's very scheduled, but just leave myself enough free time to then just schedule things in when I can. But being set so I know when I'm doing things and when I'm not, it gives me so much peace of mind.
Yeah, I like having that schedule too. It just it just don't exist anymore with my school schedule.
It's tough.
It does not exist, but it is nice to have. I definitely see what you're getting at. But when exam week hits and you got a couple midterms in a week amongst your assignments and lab reports, then it's not happening. It's not happening.
I completely lucked out, man. I don't have like any classes with exams this semester. It's just more like project-based stuff, or like they're just like, yeah, I don't do exams because I just do a ton of weekly quizzes. Because like I'm in one class where we have a quiz before every single class period, and it's like, oh, that's kind of really inconvenient. But then at the same time, I get to now and I don't have a 40 question proctored quiz coming up. That's really nice. And so it's super give and take. But I hate, like, this was my thing with Spanish, was you had those exams, and then you had like an oral exam on top of that, and then you had conversations with like native speakers, and then you had your weekly homework on a different website, but then you also had your daily homework at the same time. And so it's like there was no give and take. It was just give and give and give and give. And that class was not very fun because of it.
Yeah. I got a course like that this semester too. We got 3 midterms, we got a term project, we got presentations we got to do every month, and assignments, and it's a good time.
I think for assignments, you got to pick between smaller daily things or bigger weekly things, and then I think you got to pick between like a project or an exam. But it's like if you do both, you are foul. You're foul.
I don't know which one I would rather have, but some college professors really just force the workload. Like, it should not be this much, especially if this is not a class that's for that's like my major. Like, it shouldn't be that much, bro.
Yeah, it definitely feels like that sometimes. Definitely feels like that, but it is what it is. Oh my God, 4 semesters after this one, so
gotta get this degree somehow.
Yeah, exactly. Probably gonna take another year off between it because I don't get any break in the summer, and I'm not doing 5 classes a semester for another 5 semesters in a row. But that is way too much. But give it time.
Gabe, I still don't know like what you want to do for your career. Like, do you want to work in sports or no?
I just want to work, bro. Respectfully,
because
at this point, it's really just about this. It's about the highest wage I've ever made in my life is $12 an hour, and I would like to make some actual money that I can pay my bills and then be completely comfortable to do things. I feel like most 20-year-olds don't make that much money, but it's like because they don't have a wife, because they don't have kids, because they're not homeowners and they just live in an apartment, they have like a lot of excess to start saving stuff. I just want to be there. Unfortunately, I still have 2 semesters left of college after this. Get to that point, but really, at least at first, it's just the highest bidder. Now, I will say, I think my strongest suit is doing something with writing. So just like you can go a lot of places and just be a copywriter and just write stuff really cleanly. So
you can do that in like you can do that in like PR too. Like those skills will translate really good to that field.
So it's like that's sort of I think for my skill set currently, that's probably where it's the most applicable. But a lot of things are super interesting. Like every time I've worked around TV, whether it was as like the ESPN, like little show, local runner, or when I was like working the cameras for the soccer game last week or just anything like that, I think all that stuff is incredibly interesting. I'm just not very skilled in it yet. And I think that'll kind of come along as I take like multimedia classes and things and kind of get more used to computers, do stuff like this. I still need to get up with that editing software. I think I need to pick a game and I need to start recording some game footage because I think I'm gonna start a channel where I just talk about some games because that's what I'm doing in my free time anyways. So I'm like, let me just do that, but record it, and then I can use that footage and like talk about it and make some cool videos. And I think that's an efficient route to combine a hobby.
Yeah, definitely. Saying that too, like if that's something you want to do, like I'm constantly recording footage. If you ever need footage, I might have it on store. So like, just let me know as if you get into that. Like I might be able to send you over some stuff. You just don't have to bother with the time of just sitting there and recording it because it's not hard, but it's just time.
I was thinking about it too. Didn't you say you started your YouTube channel on FIFA?
I did, yeah. Yeah,
So,
that was like my first 10 videos.
Because I was thinking about that when I was like, dang, I might want to do a channel with like some games or something. And I'm like, Devin probably would have some experience there because he was doing the FIFA. So
yeah, that was about my first 10 videos.
Should definitely do something that you think would be most enjoyable to you first off. Like,
yeah, definitely. Because if you're gonna get into something that by the time you get a few weeks into it, you don't see the growth that isn't. I mean, sure, you might get growth, but I mean, initially starting off, it's usually not great. If you don't have that innate drive to do it after a work day come 6 o'clock, it's like, yeah, eventually it's going to die out, right? So ultimately, it's just whatever you're most passionate about at the end of the day.
It's just thinking about it. It's like, I love some sports. I love some basketball, but I'm like, I give a lot of sports takes on here. I'm constantly interacting with sports through my education. And then, like, now I'm about to start a podcast through school for a second season. So it's like, dang, I'm talking a lot of basketball already. And it's like, I don't want to burn myself out too bad. So then I'm like,
Okay.
if I'm starting my own personal project, maybe switch it up a little bit to something different so I kind of have some variety. Because to me, variety is the spice of life. If you keep doing the same thing all the time, eventually you're gonna get tired of it and want something else. So you gotta switch it up just enough to keep it.
That's a great quote.
Yeah, there's definitely something to be said for that, and that's kind of why I've structured things the way I've structured it here now. We're like we did our top 10 list here. We did our conference predictions, talked about awards, whereas that's just like not something I think about doing on my main channel anymore because I don't want to be redundant. I don't want the same content. I want something different for myself for what I'm interested in and what I want to talk about. So whether that's different avenue of sports, different topic altogether, it's definitely something to be said for keeping things different across the board for sure.
Yeah, when I get back to YouTube, I might switch my content up to just like, cause like over the summer and stuff, I had fun doing like I ranked like the best MVP seasons from the past 10 years, and that was fun. Like I enjoyed that, so I might get to content like that instead of just game recaps and stuff like that because it's not fun all the time. It's very It takes a lot sometimes to wake yourself up. Like okay, let's get this recap video done.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely get what you mean.
Yeah, I respect people that
everybody else is doing that too, so it's like you kind of got to be different to stand out.
I feel like it really started with like the Kenny for real wave. Like I feel like he started his. Obviously, Smooth was doing it like way before, but when Kenny started his channel, that was really when like the sit down in front of a camera and just talk about basketball kind of culture really started, and that became pretty common. And now it's like sometimes the games just are really boring, and I don't want to talk about it. And it's like, a guy like Kenny can get away with that because he has the platform and people are going to go back whenever he does upload. But then like growing creators, if you're not on like that daily grind, maybe you're not showing up in the algorithm and you're not seeing that growth. So then it's like, now I got to force myself to. So I think at least me personally, I'd be the kind of guy who like maybe I just upload like once a week max, but it's like a 20-minute video about like something cool or interesting or just like game retrospectives or something like that, which are still pretty common, but they're sort of like a little bit more broad. So I think opinions can differ a little bit more, and there's definitely a little bit more subjectivity in there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like when you talk about that too, in different ways to approach videos, like not completely, but almost to an extent now, it's changed a bit of how I watch the game. Like before, like I'm watching the game, I'm enjoying the game, but I'm not necessarily watching the game with the mindset of let me focus for 4 minutes on Precious Achua's off-ball defense tonight. Now I am, because that's the type of area that has piqued my interest. I'm looking at more at individual players that at different aspects of the game and seeing their development and their growth in those areas. So it's how you can approach content as well can change how you end up looking at whether it's a sport or whatever it is that the content is. But
Definitely. I was gonna mention though, Gabe, if you do want to get into sports, the Miami Dolphins opened up some summer internships for this summer that they wanted to be for like seniors, like going into their senior year. So I can send you the link if you're interested, because my girl sent it to me, but I'm like, I'm graduating this year, so that doesn't apply to me. But that could work for you.
Hey, who sent it to you?
You heard me. You heard me. Anyways,
Dang,
I can send
sounds
that
like
over.
Rick knows game.
Rick knows Riz, maybe nah.
Okay. Rick knows Riz, no shot. No shot. That's the
I can send that over to you though because I think it's a paid internship too, which
man.
a lot of internships are not paid, so that's big time.
Hey, if they want to call me down to South Beach real quick, what did LeBron say? I'll be taking
summer?
my talents to South Beach.
Yeah, I think it's like 20 different positions that they're like bringing people in for too. So you definitely will have some options to look at, man. So I'll send it over to you whenever I get a chance after we get off here.
Okay. Y'all heard it here first. If I'm working with the Dolphins in that year, it started here. It started.
Big time.
Something to be said for side projects, man. I'm dropping the album in December too. What can I say?
You for real?
Sort of like that. Hey, I keep saying it in the newsroom, but I think it's like I'll like play it off so where they don't know if I'm serious or not. But nah, there's some stuff cooked up, man.
I'm tune in. I saw you post something on your Snap last night. It looked like you was working on something.
Hey,
it was late too. It was like 1 a.m. I'm like, okay, in the lab.
I do have a couple. I have a couple little side projects. You know, I'm a man of many trades.
Feel that.
It's a little fun side hobby. You know, probably just drop it lightly on Spotify. Drop a little link on Twitter. Be like, hey, this is what happens when I'm a little bit bored at night, and just leave it there. I'm not can't be that guy who's like, oh yeah, I'm about to get huge and be the next breakout star. But it's just like it's a fun little hobby to do, and I'm bored. It's cool.
That's the best thing. If you have fun with it, man, that's all that matters.
Exactly.
Of course.
That's the only reason I'm still doing content. I mean, I'm almost 2 years into this now, and I'm swamped with schoolwork all the time, but still doing it. YouTube videos been slacking a bit lately, but season's starting now. More to talk about, more motivation to talk about it. But
always fun to talk about Wendell Carter, man.
Of course. Mid season, we're gonna be giving that all-star push. Pencil in the video. It's already in the schedule.
Why Wendell Carter has proven himself to be an all-star caliber player.
Why Wendell Carter is a certified top 5 big in the league.
About to change his name to Run the WCJ Train.
I'll just make it my profile picture for a little bit.
By the way, I don't know if you guys have football on. I saw one of the craziest catches. It should have been a catch. I saw that little toe tap. They should review that. That should have been a catch, and that was a crazy catch. But
they should review that.
I thought the Chargers would have taken care of business a long time ago in this game. I'm not gonna lie. Broncos are if they somehow come out of this 3-3 with how poverty they've been to start the season, like I'm impressed. Crazy. I'm impressed.
Their defense has been really good.
Yeah, their defense has been good.
It's that man, Pat Surtain. He is their best player. He's their defensive player of the year. He's been crazy. He is their lifeblood.
Yeah, he's been unreal.
What's the dude's name on Seattle? I think Tyrik
Woodley.
Yeah, bro. I did not know about him like that until like yesterday. I saw his stats and they were giving him Sherman comparisons. I was a little gassed. I'm like, wait, is the LOB back? Because I haven't watched a lot of Seattle, but I know they've been decent. So I'm like, wait.
He had a play last week when Taysom scored that long touchdown. Obviously, Taysom still scored, but dude hawked Taysom. And Taysom had like a 10-yard head start on him.
Yeah, he's been really good.
He looks nice, though. I was kind of surprised, too. Like, I knew they were playing a little better than expected, but the Jets are like 4-2 now. I was looking at that like, wait.
Jets have been good.
Jets are kind of solid. Like, I know they brought in Sauce. They brought in Garrett Wilson. Shout out to the OH, but
it's all because
really good too.
All because of Breece Hall, man. All because of Breece Hall. I'm pushing that.
Honestly, I think they secured themselves a good season when Zach Wilson took them boys out to Idaho. You know, went off the grid a little bit, came back to some proceedings.
That's definitely going to help the team chemistry for sure.
Oh yeah, Zach. You know, they might be a little bit less, might be a little hesitant to bring their families to the games knowing Zach Wilson's around. But hey, man, that's my favorite young QB now. Besides Joe Shiesty.
Joe ain't even young. He's like 27. Dude, old.
He's just only been playing football for he played a year and a half before this season. So he just feels new.
That's my fantasy QB1 though, man. I love Joe Burrow. That's my guy.
Hey, that's Joe Burrow. That boy cannot lose in the Superdome.
That game yesterday was so bittersweet because that Jamar touchdown obviously hurt me, but then I saw the points go up to 32. I'm like, I'll take it, man. I'll take it.
The duality of fantasy.
It's crazy.
It's crazy because I just had Red Zone on, and then my guy, Tyrik G, he had just the fantasy app open, and this man, I'm sitting there. The Bengals get the ball back down 3 or 4 or whatever they were. And all of a sudden, he's just 60-yard touchdown, Jamar Chase. And I was like, wait, huh? Hold on, what? And then I looked down at my phone, and he's just off to the races. And I'm like, we about to get this dub. We're about to get it.
Shout out to Bradley Roby for being a toast, a human toast.
Eli Apple, he tweeted out of the who they greater than who that, and
he was garbage yesterday. He's been cool this year, but he was bad yesterday.
Eli Apple, he
literally gave over a 44-yard jet sweep touchdown. It was because of him.
Wait, hold up. Y'all got the game on right now?
I don't currently.
A beach ball just came across the camera feed, bro.
No,
they're throwing up beach balls in OT because the game is that poverty. If you see a beach ball come across the podcast, across the broadcast, that is some poverty, bro.
I guess it's better than Broncos fans just walking out last week. So game goes to OT. No, I'm done. Didn't win outright. That's it.
It is so sad, bro. I hate to see. I feel like the NFL is so random. I still don't know who's good because the Eagles are the best team in the NFL, and everybody else is 3-3, bro.
It's so tight this year. And then there's the 5-1 teams people don't believe in, as far as the Giants and the Vikings. I don't know. It's a weird league this year. It's so open.
Yeah, bro. The Giants, Vikings, and Eagles are the best teams in the NFL. None of them are close to my Super Bowl picks.
Yeah, the Bills are 5-1. They're the only team with 5 or more wins that are a team that's expected to be really good.
I actually believe in Philly because that defense is so good.
Yeah, I think Philly are pretty good too. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know if I believe in them as the best team in the conference, but I don't believe in anyone in the NFC is the best team in the conference right now. So,
yeah, I knew I knew Jalen was good. I didn't know he was him, but I think he doesn't even have to be him because his weapons are pretty solid. So as long as he's just good on the ground and he's just good enough as a passer, just where they need him to be, he don't even got to be that special. And it's almost the recipe the last time the Eagles were good. Carson Wentz was not obviously he played really well that season.
Carson Wentz was the MVP that year until he got
hurt.
He
was the MVP, but think about it. That team won a Super Bowl because the rest of their team was just that good.
True, but to say Carson Wentz wasn't the MVP, he was the MVP that season.
Okay, he had a really good season, but is Carson Wentz him?
At that time, he was. He was the reason why they were winning a lot of games in that regular season. He was untouchable that year until he got hurt.
Yeah, some players just have them stretches, man. Derek Carr, 2016, he was him until he got injured in week 6.
I wish he didn't get hurt because then they gave it to Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan did not deserve no MVP, bro.
He went to the Super Bowl though, so.
And what happened?
He scored 4. Actually, no. I think they got a pick 6, so he scored 3 touchdowns.
And they lost.
Hey man. If you lose I can't really hate somebody for losing to the GOAT, man. It's losing a playoff series to Jordan or LeBron. I got no hate in my heart for Clyde Drexler, for Charles Barkley, for any of them. I don't got hate for John Stockton. I do got hate for Karl Malone, but it's not because he lost the greatness for other reasons.
I don't hate John Stockton. I be pushing some crazy narratives about him, but that's it.
I mean, Gary Payton better, but
A lot of people are better in my book, but that's just me. Don't tell the old heads that.
Hey, first of all, Gary Payton was playing some real defense in the 90s, back when they played real men defense.
Oh my god!
The Broncos are the worst team in the NFL. But Gary Payton was clamping up back when they played real defense, so the old heads gotta love him.
You would think.
Yeah, the Broncos stink.
Chargers still gonna find a way to lose.
Yeah,
They stink.
this Broncos team has got way too many primetime games to show off the acquisition of Russell to then have
They're the
this
Lakers.
night in, night out. Literally,
They're the
they are the
I predicted
They are
the Broncos.
Lakers.
I predicted the Broncos to be really good, man, because I was like, hey, I think that defense is gonna be solid, which is true. That defense is pretty nice. But then I'm like, okay, Russ was kind of doing it with like not much of an O line, some solid receivers, but nothing crazy, and like an incredibly mid run game in Seattle. It's like, okay, if he just comes to the Broncos and does a little bit of that, and that defense is pretty good, this team can be pretty solid.
I said they would finish last in their division. I was also just talking stuff to my friend, but I'm not gonna tell him that.
I said the Raiders were going to be last in the division, man.
It's between those
I
two
was-
teams.
I think I was right. The Raiders are really bad.
The Raiders are like the best 1-4 team I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, their offense is good, but man, their defense is trash.
Yeah, their defense is terrible.
If the Bengals would have lost, they would have been the best 2-4 team I would have ever seen. Losing literally all your games on last-second field goals and being a losing team, like.
Yeah, that Raiders team gives me hard Cowboys flashbacks to all the years where it's like, yeah, we got a good offense, but our secondary can't defend a beach ball.
Talking about Coach Clapp, talking about Jason Garrett, Coach 8-8.
I am very much talking about Jason Garrett.
They had to, they heard the season was going to 17 games and Jason Garrett had to go because you can't go 8-8 with
Now
17
he's out here
games.
on national broadcast saying "Fly Eagles fly." So
He
That's
would've-
crazy.
Hey man,
We had a lot of seasons like that where like Drew Brees was generationally good, but our defense was like a bunch of Amazon workers and plumbers in the secondary.
then y'all got a defense and just kept selling in the playoffs year after
And now
year.
we got a defense, and then our offense started slowing down more and more.
Nah, bro. For some reason, y'all got a defense and then just let the Vikings live rent free. I don't really know what's going on there, but
Teams make
Vikings-
fans of a team make one Super Bowl run, and then they just start talking sideways, man.
what do you mean? The Vikings literally beat you guys. Like, first, the Minneapolis Miracle was crazy. Still, that's one of the worst safety plays I've ever seen in my life. It
That's
is.
fine.
Come on, bro. Kyle Rudolph ended your season, man. Kirk Cousins and Kyle Rudolph ended your season, bro.
And you know who I blame for that game? Eli fucking Apple. That's who I blame for that. He was getting torched, bro. I blame
Hey,
Eli
bro.
Apple for that game.
Hey.
And it's crazy because those two losses obviously hurt, but nothing will hurt more than the Rams. Like, that's the first loss I think of to where, like, I'm going to probably think of that until the day I die.
yeah, that was tough. That was really tough. That's probably how I'll feel with the Packers forever with the Des Bryant catch. I'll never
Oh.
forget that one.
I'm so happy the Packers are not doing hot, bro. Can I just say that? I've been praying on the Packers down
so
for so long. Bro.
I'm still anti Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah,
I'm
he's
not
a
a
good
big-
quarterback,
For me-
but that's about as good as was a good quarterback at least, but not a big fan of him.
For me, it was never about Rodgers. It was never about any of the players. It's never about any coaching. Never even about the fan base. My beef with the Packers is the fact that we had to see them in the NFC title game every single year just for them to lose every single time. Like it
Piss
literally
down their
became a
leg
rite of-
every time. But you know
Yeah.
whose fault it never is? It's never Aaron Rodgers'
It's
fault.
never Aaron Rodgers.
Not if he has a top 10 defense and they pick off Tom Brady 3 times. It's not his fault. Oh, he has Devontae Adams, but he still needs more weapons. Nope, not his fault. Like,
Didn't he lose to porn star Jimmy?
Twice.
Twice. You lost to porn star Jimmy twice. Like, huh?
But
Lost to Jimmy
yeah.
twice. Lost to Eli Manning when he was a 15-1 quarterback, MVP. Like, I'm sorry, Rodgers is he's a super stat patter, bro. I'm sorry, I don't like. He's obviously great, but I don't think he's all that, man.
Yeah, Rod, like, it's just I needed to see some fresh matchups, and it's like I wanted to see a conference title game where I'm like, yo, this is like pretty exciting. These two teams might both go to the Super Bowl, and that's really cool. And it's like that's not happening with them there every single season. Like when the Saints and the Rams went to the NFC title game, that was such a dope game to watch because I'm like, I really mess with both of these teams. So I was
stressing that entire game.
Hey, we got the wrong winners because if the other two teams would have won those conference title games that year, we would have got that rematch. It would have been that rematch of that Monday Night Football Chiefs-Rams game where it was like 52-49 or something.
You're talking about that game. Yeah, that was cool.
Nah, that's one of the best football games I've ever watched too. Because honestly, I like some good defensive showings, but that was like the greatest shootout I've ever seen. Like Jared Goff really went out there and went like throw for throw with Patrick Mahomes for 4 quarters and won.
Jared Goff, just goated. I don't know. He's just goated. Lions offense, best in the league.
Hey, still better than Carson Wentz.
And Carson Wentz is out here getting injured the week I start him. I can't start a quarterback in fantasy anymore, apparently.
Dak Prescott is still just Kirk Cousins as a 4th-round pick.
Hey, Vikings are 5-1. So.
Hey, man.
Kirk for Dark Horse MVP.
Hey, every game.
Alex Hoops about to be pushing that narrative. I'm telling you.
If every game is at 1 p.m. on a Sunday, yeah, Kirk Cousins is the MVP. But that man is captain fold in primetime, so I don't know, man. We gotta see them in some big moments.
Oh, are they ever gonna play in primetime? That's the question.
Probably not, because the Broncos
only got one.
take it every week.
They got a Thursday night game, and that's it. That is it.
I don't even know if the Bengals have any more, even though we were the Super Bowl team.
Have they played on Thursday yet?
Yeah, they had that. They had the whiteout game.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
I think we have one Monday night game, and we played this Thursday. I think that's it.
This Thursday.
Honestly,
and
what's the whiteout?
You got another December 5th night game, whatever day that is.
Too bad the Bengals primetime game ended up not being about the Bengals. It ended up being about the Dolphins. The Dolphins staff being absolutely blasphemous.
That was a boring. Well, all Thursday night games suck, honestly.
Thursday night football. I saw
great.
If they're not going to scrap it, I saw one change. And they said, yeah, Thursday night football should only be between 2 teams coming off a bye. And I completely agree.
Yeah, definitely.
That way you have like a whole week and have to prepare ahead of time. And then after Thursday night football, you got like 10 days till your next game. Like, if you're going to do it, space it out.
Yeah, that's definitely the way to go about it. Bengals got 3 more primetime games.
3 more? Okay.
Monday the 31st of October against the Browns.
So they play on Halloween? Oh, it's looking scary for Cleveland. Oh, bro. Hey,
they got the Steelers on November 20th, and then they got the Bills on January 2nd.
Hey, listen, Tyrik knows I love Cleveland Pack more than anything, bro.
Bro, this man, I've seen Gabe, last time I saw him was Wednesday. He was talking about Cleveland sports. So today he was talking about Cleveland sports, bro. Like, he loves talking about the demise of Cleveland sports in general.
He's got the rivalry in the NFL. He's got the Cavs and the Raptors.
It all started. I already talked about it this episode. It all started when LeBron beat Victor Oladipo, and I knew we were gonna get swept. And ever since that day, I've been praying on the downfall of Cleveland.
Somehow we managed to bring up LeBron versus Victor Oladipo twice in an episode about award prediction.
What if Victor Oladipo is sixth man of the year?
Dark horse, man. Wild card picks.
Dark horse wild card pick, man. Hey,
Honestly, wouldn't hate it. Definitely possible.
I'm the man who put Russell Westbrook on an award video.
As your number 2 guy at that.
Okay, but think about it. If he for real comes off the bench, he's a contender.
Is the media going to give him that love, though?
In 2K terms, yes.
Yeah.
If he comes off the bench and he averages like 18, 7, and 7, he's the sixth man of the year.
He probably should be if they're like a decent team, maybe.
Yeah, Jordan Poole will probably still win it, though.
Yeah. Jordan Poole would average like 21 off the bench this year.
What'd they say last year, bro? If baddies are courtside every game, or as Tyrik says, if some mid is courtside every game, those girls are courtside every game. What'd they say about John Morant? He shouldn't be in MIP conversations. He should be in MVP conversations. So don't you
Jordan Poole for MVP is crazy.
Coming off the bench, winning MVP.
If those girls are courtside every game, do not be surprised.
Crazy.
They'll find any way to discredit Curry, bro. They'll find any way.
Oh man,
Isn't Iguodala still back for one more year?
I think he is.
Back for a year.
He's a year. I'm sorry.
He needs to give it up.
He's a year away from Udonis Haslem status to me, man. He's a year away. From
I think
Udonis
he's
status.
probably still 3 years away from Udonis status. I'm gonna be honest.
Okay.
That's
only.
And that's not because Iguodala be up there doing things, but Haslam ain't been doing anything on that team for 3 to 4 years.
That's true.
now.
That's true. He'll be like 2017 Haslam, but Haslam's actually been just taking up a roster spot for half a decade.
He's
I
the
think
power forward that they need, man. He needs to suit up this year.
They are looking to look.
Night.
They are looking to look
All
thin
threat.
at forward.
Imagine they've just been saving him for this moment.
Bro, imagine him trying to guard modern forwards. Giannis is. Giannis
The last
on
time he played
Zebo,
consistent minutes, fours were like still post players.
Man was out there guarding Zebo.
I know. He was out there guarding Zebo and Al Jefferson, bro.
He's gonna be starting games off on KD.
Hey, bro. Yeah, Jason Tatum's gonna get one blow by on that man.
God.
He's gonna retire at halftime like that Bills player, man.
Oh, Ben Simmons looked like a 30-point per game scorer in that matchup.
Hey, Ben Simmons gave Rudy Gobert 40, bro. Don't
He's
ever.
giving you Don 60.
Not wrong.
I swear Ben Simmons just doesn't score because he don't want to. If you can give the defensive player of the year a 40-piece, you can do anything.
Oh, got the win in fantasy. We are 5-1, fellas. 5-1.
Doing a lot better than me.
Ooh, look at Reek Nose Riz, man, getting the fantasy W. That's crazy.
Reek knows Riz is crazy.
Hey,
That's
that's gonna be a thing now. You can thank
Oh,
yourself.
God.
You can thank yourself.
I'm denying all allegations. I do not have Riz.
I'm coming into work tomorrow talking about
Just got
some,
lucky.
hey, bro. Y'all heard of Reek Nose Riz?
I won't be there tomorrow, so go ahead.
I got a game to work tomorrow.
Just like that Magic Johnson meme. He said so.
I ain't
I ain't
gonna
gonna
be
be
there.
there.
Oh, man.
That is crazy, bro.
I got the Chargers dub, so that's my dub for the week.
Hey,
Fantasy
first
don't be
of
getting
all-
me dubs no more.
Justin Herbert got carried, 0 touchdowns, 1 pick on 57 pass attempts. Joe Burrow's still better. Thank you and good night.
Yeah, 57 pass attempts and under 300 yards is crazy.
0 touchdowns.
That is crazy. Well, the fact that Mike Williams had 2 catches doesn't really help. That is also crazy. Although Keenan Allen apparently has been questionable for 5 weeks, so I don't know what's going on over there. So
They said that man has the longest hamstring rehab of all time.
yeah, I've definitely not been frustrated by him not being able to go on my IR for the last 5 weeks.
It's always somebody.
not
It's
ideal.
always somebody, bro. I swear. The big three are always being out is like Him, Michael Thomas, and low-key Chris Godwin just always finds a way to be out, bro. I swear.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I've usually been pretty good for injuries, but man, this this year's been rough. Tua out, Lance out, Wentz is out now. I played him this week. Cook's been questionable a couple times. Keenan Allen's been out all year. Thought Devontae was about to get suspended. Man,
My receivers have just been like banged up. Like Amon-Ra St. Brown's been banged up. T. Higgins has been killing me. Like I just can't even start him anymore, bro. Because
yeah, right.
man's be hurt. Still tries to play.
Marquise Brown's out for 6 weeks now as well, which is fine because I have D-Hop, so he's back next week. But
Oh, it's only 6 weeks now.
That's what I
thought
said.
they
Yeah,
were
they were saying for the year, but then after they did further testing this afternoon, they said it was going to be about 6 weeks.
Thank God. I traded him for Joe Burrow because I needed a quarterback so bad.
Yeah, I need a quarterback too, but people have been trying to fleece me. I'm just like, nah, it's not happening. It's not happening because I was trying to make trades while I had Jamal Williams while DeAndre Swift was out because he was on the waiver wire while Swift went out, and then Ed Marquise Brown. So I wanted them both for the time being, but no one really wanted them because then once D-Hop is back, no one wants Brown as much, and then once Under Swift is back, no one wants Jamal Williams. So it's kind of screwed for assets. Now I might be able to do something now that D-Hop's back. Jacobs is playing like a beast, so I might be able to do something. But as of right now, the starting QB is probably Tua back off the IR, I guess.
Hey, bro. I just looked it up. The Cleveland Pack will have to wait another day.
Oh yeah,
Game 5 between it got postponed. I just saw that. I was thinking, like, wait a second. While I'm hating on Cleveland, did their season get ended tonight by the Yankees?
They announced that like 4 hours ago, Gabe. You're like very late.
I don't follow baseball like that. I just like being a hater.
I just have Yankees noties on. That's all.
Yeah, I'd be tuning into the Jays games in the playoffs, and that's about it. And I tuned in the 2 games, and we lost, and that was it. It's great.
Come on, man. I need to see Vladdy take him far.
Yeah, one day maybe. Probably not.
Yankees kind of made me mad. The Yankees fell off from like how great they were early on in the year, then they just became mid the rest of the season.
Yeah, they really did.
Yeah. Yankees are the Warriors, bro. They're gonna bounce back. Judge was chasing that home run record, so they fell a little bit like Curry after he got the 3-point record and back up.
Let's hope so. So Dodgers lost, so maybe it's a chance.
The Yankees are going all the way, man. Catch me in my Yankees jersey tomorrow and Wednesday.
It's crazy. You have a Yankees jersey. I do not. I have a shirt. I have a couple shirts. That's it.
Yeah, yes. I always say, because people always say something about it, and every time I'm like, hey, bro, you know the girls who wear the band shirts and can't name one song? I got a Yankees jersey and can't name 5 players. That's okay, because I went to New York City, and I liked the shirt.
You're a fan.
Purchased in Times Square, man.
You're a fan. We take you in as a fan, bro. You're welcome.
I'm a perfect bandwagoner for baseball because I have a very casual knowledge, and my hometown team has not won a playoff series since Pete Rose got caught gambling. So
it's been that long.
Pete Rose curse, bro. They said Cincinnati was under the Pete Rose curse because the Bengals and the Reds both had not won like anything since. Because 1990 was the last time that the Reds won a playoffs, or they won the World Series that year. And then the Bengals, that was the last time they won a playoff game. It was both like right around that same, like 1990, maybe 91 for the Bengals.
Jesus.
And then it was wraps.
It's tough.
But hey, the Bengals finally broke the curse, but I still do not think the Reds are ever going to not be poverty at this point.
Yeah, the Reds lost 100 plus games this year.
Yeah, it's definitely not ideal. I'm going to have to cop out on my Timberwolves fandom now because they're actually the closest professional team to me. So I can have a reason to support them.
Oh, yeah, okay. And so, right, this is the Pete Rose curse. In 1991 was when the Baseball Hall of Fame codified a long-standing rule that barred players like Pete Rose for betting, like, from being inducted. So he got permanently banned from the Baseball Hall of Fame in 91.
and no team in Cincinnati had done shit since until earlier this year.
Jesus. Cincinnati, man, home of Skyline Chili.
Wait a minute. God, Lord. Now I'm about to have to eat. Now I'm about to have to eat some tomorrow just because you said that.
You're crazy, bro. You're crazy.
How am I crazy? How am I crazy? Yes.
I'm cool.
This is a man from Dayton, bro. He doesn't know. Don't let him act like he even knows because he's from Dayton.
I would never fall into the Skyline Chili trap. I don't know how they're staying in business, to be honest.
Because of me. It's because of me, bro.
I guess.
There's one like right next to my apartment complex, like office leasing building, and it's usually like always 3 cars in that line. I'm like, there's no way, bro.
Look out your window tomorrow, and guess who's about to be there? It's about to be me, bro. Watch this, bro. I got some business to take care of tomorrow, bro.
That's crazy. That's crazy work, man. We might have to end this episode now, bro. That's crazy. Man's got a Skyline gift card. That's disturbing.
I got some business to take care of.
That's disturbing. Dude better hit the gym and then go get some Skyline.
Hey, man. Once I burn off the calories, you know, all my systems are running. Skyline's just gonna help it a little bit more. You know what I'm saying?
That's nuts, bro.
That's crazy.
Hey, man, it's really just tradition. It's like when people have like the super like harmful attitudes and they're like, I was just raised that way. I was damn near raised in a Skyline Chili, bro. We were eating that so often that it's just a part of life at this point.
Man, but do we got anything else, y'all? It's almost midnight here.
Yeah,
man's got Spanish in the morning.
Probably wrap it up. I got a bunch of work to do. Got 8:30 class, full day of classes and labs, and we got opening night tomorrow.
Opening night. I got a game of work tomorrow, man.
Sorry, I'm gonna miss the Celtics game.
That's okay. Sixers are gonna win. So.
Imagine not watching this.
Celtics by 15.
That's crazy.
At least I'll get to watch the Lakers funeral.
Starters aren't gonna play. The Lakers will get to keep it close. All gonna play.
Bro.
The Westbrook 6 Man of the Year campaign starts tomorrow.
Hey, he's doing it on the 11th seed, man. So it's possible. There's gonna be opportunity. Oh, who are the? I don't even know who the Raptors play first. I haven't even.
Cleveland on Wednesday.
Always the perfect opportunity to get on Cleveland pack. Hey.
Get to see the Garland Mitchell debut as well.
This is the last thing you're gonna hear from me this episode is that if the Guardians and the Cavs lose, I'm on crazy Cleveland pack next episode. And that's all you need to be ready for. If I come in here sad next week, y'all got me. But
I thought everybody loved this version of the Cavs, except for you, I guess.
I like the Cavs. I like the Cavs.
He was disrespecting Garland in the player ranking.
I like that, but I think I was the highest on Mitchell though. So somebody had Donovan Mitchell at 6. So I think that was
before he got traded though.
I think no, that was after the trade.
That was after the trade. But Garland's the MVP of the team. So
yes.
Yes. Hey, whatever you say, still, I like that team. I like all the players on that team. But anything that make the city of Cleveland be in shambles, I'll see you next week.
That's crazy. It's supposed to be Ohio against the world, man.
Hey, y'all be hating on Skyline too much. It became Cincinnati against the world.
Okay.
Okay, time to wrap it up. If you guys did enjoy the episode, be sure to leave a like down below and subscribe to the channel for our episodes throughout the first few weeks of the season. And be sure to leave your thoughts down in the comments below on our award predictions for the season, including the interesting take of Russell Westbrook being the 6th Man of the Year candidate. That being said, we appreciate your guys' support. Hope you guys enjoyed the first week of the return of the regular season, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.